Hello, and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. As the new league phase format in the Champions League has come to its conclusion, it leads us onto the playoff round where teams who finish between 9th and 24th in the 36-team league table will now go head-to-head for a spot in the last 16. For Celtic or Bayern Munich, it will be either Simeone's Atletico or Alonso's Leverkusen in that next round. But firstly, we start at Celtic Park for the first leg of two as Rodgers goes face-to-face with company. For Celtic, they finished 21st with 12 points in the league phase after they were able to pick up wins against Slovan Bratislava, RB Leipzig and the Young Boys, all at home. They also come into this game high on confidence as they won their last two games in all competitions with an aggregate scoreline of 11-0 against Raith Rovers and Dundee, both here at Celtic Park. For Bayern, they finished in 12th in the league phase, just 1 point off that top 8, which would have got them a guaranteed spot into the last 16. And unlike last season, they are flying at the top of the Bundesliga, 8 points clear of second place Leverkusen, and for the Champions League, despite 3 away defeats for the German side against Aston Villa, Barcelona and Feyenoord, they qualified comfortably for the playoff round and will be aiming to reach the last 16 and beyond in this season's Champions League. And these two have met 4 times previously, and Celtic are yet to win. All 4 of the meetings have been in the Champions League group stages, and the only time Bayern did not win was in a 0-0 draw at Celtic Park back in November 2003. So in this big night for Celtic and Bayern, will any of the two teams take an advantage to Munich for the second leg next Tuesday? And I don't think this will be an easy game for Bayern Munich. You know, they've struggled away from home in the Champions League this season, as just stated before. You know, all 3 of their defeats in the Champions League this season have come away from home. The only time they didn't lose away from the Allianz Stadium this season in the Champions League was a 5-1 win in game week 6 against Shakhtar Donetsk, and they have also won the other 4 games they played in the Champions League. All their home games they won. They beat Dinamo Zagreb 9-2 in the first game of the league phase. Then in game 4 they beat Benfica 1-0, and then they also beat PSG as well, and Shakhtar, and of course away from home, and then Bratislava in the final game of the league phase. I definitely think that home win to PSG in game week 5 is definitely looking better than it probably was at that point, because PSG slowly got themselves over the line to qualify for this playoff stage. But you know, they're seeming pretty dangerous in this season's competition. Ousmane Dembele seems to have really got himself into a nice run of form at the moment. So Bayern Munich can beat the big teams, but they can also be beaten by them. Like I say, a 4-1 away defeat to Barcelona in game week 3 was a pretty heavy loss. But like I say, in the Bundesliga, they are flying at the top, 8 points clear of second place. They played on Friday night against Werder Bremen at home, and they won 3-0. 2 penalties from Harry Kane got them 2 of the 3 goals, and then Leroy Sané got one of his own in the 82nd minute. And for Celtic, like Bayern Munich, they're also at top of the league in their division in the Scottish Premiership. They are on 66 points, 13 clear of Rangers, who you might have read in the weekend got beat in the Cup. Bit of a shock exit, so it looks like Celtic are going to be going on for a treble, possibly. They've already won the League Cup, and they are en route to probably go on and win the Scottish Cup, and then the Scottish Premiership as well. And for them in the Champions League, it has been a pretty decent campaign, it must admit. They started with a 5-1 home win against Bratislava, but then they followed that up with that 7-1 away defeat to Borussia Dortmund. That was Celtic's second heaviest defeat in their history. It was quite the beating, but then they backed that up with a clean sheet away against Atalanta in Italy, and then they beat Leipzig at home, and then drew at home to Club Brugge, which isn't the worst result because they gave City a good game, and they also just beat Atalanta earlier on today, Club Brugge, and then away again against Dinamo Zagreb, drawing 0-0, beat Young Boys at home 1-0, then lost their final game to Aston Villa 4-2. So it's kind of been, there've been peaks and there's been lows in the Celtic Champions League campaign so far, but they've qualified for the knockout stages, which is the main aim and the main success for Celtic. It's something they have struggled to do in their recent history, qualify for the knockout stages of the Champions League. The last time they qualified for the knockout stages of this competition was back in 2013 when they were knocked out by Juventus. But I'm sure Celtic Park will be absolutely rocking tonight. Just over 60,000 it holds. Opened back in August 1892. And Bayern Munich will be looking to win here once again. Like I said, they drew here 0-0 in 2003, but they also won here in October 2017. Kingsley Coman put them 1-0 up, and then Callum McGregor equalised for Celtic in the 74th minute. He captained Celtic tonight, but then they lost it 3 minutes later. A Javi Martinez goal for Bayern gave them the win that day. And both sets of starting 11s are in the tunnel at the moment. There's a handshake between Kasper Schmeichel and Manuel Neuer, two very legendary goalkeepers in their own right. Of course, Kasper Schmeichel winning the Premier League with Leicester back in 2016, and Manuel Neuer, including qualifying in this competition, is making his 150th appearance in the competition. It includes 148 appearances in the competition proper and then 2 in qualifying. And it's two keepers that are coming towards the back end of their careers, but still equally as good, both 38 years of age now, as both sets of starting 11s will be emerging now. Out onto the pitch here at Celtic Park, the referee leads them both out, and it is Jesus Gil Manzano, the Spanish referee tonight, who is 41 years of age. And in the corner of the ground, there's the Bayern Munich supporters who are making around the 3 or 4 hour round trip on the plane to Glasgow and back to hopefully, for them, see their team come out with a lead to go into that second leg. Last season, it was very well documented that Bayern Munich were quite unlucky to not get to the final against Real Madrid. You might remember at the Bernabeu, they had a very late goal scored, but before the ball could hit the back of the net, the referee had blown the whistle beforehand, and they were dumped out of the competition late by Real Madrid. A Joselu double knocked them out that night. But they are 6-time winners of this competition. Bayern Munich, they won it 3 years in a row in 74, 75 and 76. Most recently, you might remember, in 2020, during the COVID times, the Kingsley Coman 1-0 win back in 2020. As we'll go through both sets of starting 11s here, and it's 2 changes for Celtic since that defeat away at Aston Villa at the back end of January. It's Kasper Schmeichel to play in goal, a back 4 of Alistair Johnston, who's making his 15th Champions League appearance of his career. At left back will be Greg Taylor, and 2 centre backs, both American, of Austin Trusty and Cameron Carter-Vickers. 3 midfield of Arnie Engels, who was brought in the summer from Augsburg for £11 million, and alongside him will be captain Callum McGregor, who scored on this ground against this opposition back in 2017. And also in midfield is the Japanese international. He's featured in every game so far for them in all competitions, and that is Ryo Hatate, who is looking to score his second ever Champions League goal. He got 1 against Leipzig in the home win in game week 4. And then 3 up front on the right wing will be Nicholas Kuhn, who is formerly off Bayern Munich. Was there for 2 years and played 37 times for their second team, scoring 6 goals, and he is looking to add to his goal tally this season for Celtic. Nicholas Kuhn, he's got 17 in all competitions, 2 of them in the Champions League against another German opposition, and that was RB Leipzig. On the left will be Daisen Maeda, who was sent off against Young Boys in game week 7, and he was meant to have a 2-game ban. One of those games he served out against Aston Villa in game week 8, but they reviewed it and they challenged it, and it got overturned, so he's only had to have a 1-game ban instead of a 2-game ban, so he's in playing on the left-hand side tonight. And up front, leading the line, signed for £9.5 million in the summer, is Adam Eder, who has got 3 goals so far in the Champions League. 1 in the first game against Bratislava, and then a brace away at Aston Villa in the last game. And for Bayern Munich, there is 6 changes from their last starting 11 when they beat Bratislava in game week 8 of the Champions League. Manuel Neuer remains in goal, a back 4 of Conrad Lima, Deo Upamecano, Eric Dyer comes in, and so does Rafael Guerrero at left back, who is in for the currently injured Alphonso Davies. 2 holding midfielders of Joshua Kimmich, who's played in every game so far in all competitions for Bayern Munich. Alongside him is Leon Goretzka, who's making just his 7th appearance in this season's Champions League, his 12th start in all competitions. On the right will be £50 million signing Michael Olise. On the left is Leroy Sané. In behind the striker is Jamal Musiala, who's already got the same amount of goals this season in the Bundesliga than he did in the entirety of last season. And up front, leading the line, will be Harry Kane, who's only ever scored 6 knockout goals in the Champions League. He's got 35 altogether 29 in the group stage, and 6 in the knockouts, and they'll be needing him to get on the score sheet tonight by Munich if they want to try and take a lead to Munich for the second leg next week. Of course, we have also got Liverpool taking on Everton at the final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. We'll be keeping updates on that game as it's still currently Everton 1, Liverpool 1. As here in Celtic Park, it's Bayern Munich, 2 kickers off, kicking right to left. Celtic left to right for this first 45 minutes. Manuel Neuer sends it long down the Bayern right, flicked on by Kane. Poor touch from Musiala means it's now with the left back Greg Taylor, who takes on Elise, plays it down the left-hand side to Hatate, into the middle for Engels, who can keep it away from Sane, and Celtic want an early attack here, onto the near side here to Nicholas Kuhn, the right winger, who will give himself a run at Guerrero, onto his left foot, edge of the box, loads of space for him to get the shot off, and he works his way in! It's a rapid start for Celtic, who have the lead against Bayern Munich. And it's their former player, Nicholas Kuhn, who on that left foot curls it into the back of the net through a sea of bodies, but there's a flag up for offside. Will the goal stand? We're less than a minute in, and Celtic have got a goal on the scoreboard, but it might not be there for too long. It's a rapid start from Brendan Rodgers' side. Nicholas Kuhn on that right wing, cutting onto his left foot, running across the 18-yard box, and as he struck it, it went beyond Adam Eder, who jumped out of the way, but he was in an offside position as Kuhn struck the ball towards goal. It completely deceived Manuel Neuer, and it more than likely mean that this goal will be disallowed due to the Irish striker standing in an offside position, and that is the decision given. So it's a goal disallowed for Celtic, less than a minute in. They'd got themselves in front in this game, but disallowed due to Eder being in an offside position. But there's no surprise that Nicholas Kuhn has scored there, because he's scored 17 goals already this season for Celtic in all competitions. But that one's been disallowed, and Bayern Munich are still in this game at 0-0. Despite that early goal going in their own net, as Neuer with the left-footed pass in towards Musiala, poor touch, but the touch does go towards Sane. He flicks it in the air and tries to get around Johnston, and he can not quite do so because the ball's kicked away by Kuhn, who was helping out his right back there, and it's now Celtic on the ball with Trust it. Try to kick it down the left-hand side, but it's going to have to play for a Bayern Munich throw-in, midway side of Celtic half. On that far side, it's thrown backwards by Kimmich to the halfway line to Deo Upamecano, who played every minute in the Euros for France in the summer. Only 26 years of age still. Deo Upamecano made his 100th Bundesliga appearance for Bayern Munich at the weekend against Werder Bremen. And the shock starter is Eric Dyer, who's on the ball at the moment, midway side the Bayern half. He's in for Kim Min-jae. It's his first start in the Champions League this season for Eric Dyer. He'd only featured twice in the competition off the bench against Dinamo Zagreb and Shakhtar Donetsk, so quite a shock start in the Bayern side as Musiala is dispossessed by Engels, but the loose ball drops to Sane, who's in the central area now, just in front of the centre circle, playing it into path for Lima, who's forward from full-back. It's now out wide to Elise in the corner of the box on his left foot. Can he get a shot off? Elise still has it, goes for the shot, blocked by Trusty, drops to Lima, who will have a shot himself, and he sends it over the crossbar as he was aiming for the top left corner. And we're just over 3 minutes in here at Celtic Park, and it's Celtic 0, Bayern Munich 0. Celtic have already had the ball in the back of the net, 30 seconds in from Nicholas Kuhn. But as he had the shot, it went beyond Adam Eder, who put off Neuer, and he was in an offside position, the striker, so it was disallowed. It can't be held up on the left wing for Celtic there by Maeda. And it's now Bayern who will restart again with their goalkeeper, Manuel Neuer, who suffered quite a serious leg injury between the end of 2022 and the back end of 2023. He had 10 months out because of it. And, you know, at his age, at that point, he was around 36, 37. That could have easily have ended his playing days, but he's come back and he is as strong as ever. Manuel Neuer, he's only missed one Champions League game so far this season. He was injured for the 5-1 away win against Shakhtar Donetsk in Game 6. He's got 3 clean sheets in his last 6 in the league as well. Manuel Neuer, as it's on the far side of Bayern Munich halfway line. Lima bringing it forward, being tracked though by Dyson Maeda. It's now with Deo Upamecano at right centre-back. Across it goes to his centre-back partner of Eric Dyer, who spent 11 years coming through at Sporting Lisbon as he grew up in Portugal. The former English international, Sane, flicks it inside for Musiala, who gets away from Engels, then plays it across to the right to Lima, who gets ahead of Maeda, and then tries to slip it through towards Sane in the box. It deflects, and it goes through here for Celtic, who can try and get rid here with Nicholas Kuhn in the right-back position. Try to play it down the line. It's an overhit pass, can't quite find the right-back of Alistair Johnston. And it runs through for Goretzka, and it's now back on Bayern Munich possession on the halfway line with Upamecano. Back out wide left here to the number 8 of Leon Goretzka. Just his 12th start in all competitions for Leon Goretzka. He was out of the matchday squad altogether against Dinamo Zagreb in the last game for Bayern Munich, but seems like he's gone for more experience tonight with the atmosphere that meets players, because usually they do play the youngster, the 20-year-old Alexander Pavlovich, but tonight they've gone for Leon Goretzka. In an interview before the game, Vincent Kompany was asked if this is one of the loudest stadiums he's played, and he said yes, it's in his top 3. And he said if I could have chosen one place to come back as a player, it would be here. So it's definitely a stadium that Kompany enjoyed playing in, just due to the sheer atmosphere in here. And he has played here once in his career, Vincent Kompany, as a player, and it was back in a 3-1 defeat in his Anderlecht days in November 2003. And apparently that day Alex Ferguson came to watch him and he didn't have a great game, so how things could have been different in the career of Vincent Kompany. As we're just over 6 minutes in, it's Celtic, a team currently on the ball on the edge of their own 18-yard box with the left centre-back Austin Trusty. It's now into the midfield to the captain McGregor, just out to this left-hand side, playing it forward to Maeda, who can take a touch inside away from Lima and away from Kimmich, but the pass goes behind Hetate, picked up by Goretzka. Quick 1-2 with Harry Kane. Goretzka has it back, and it's now with Elise on the right wing, midway side the Celtic half. He's driving forward with it. He's got Engels in front of him, lays it off behind him to Kimmich. He's got a bit of time on the ball, and he plays it to Musiala, then out wide to Elise, who's in the box himself here, the former Palace man, onto his right foot, allowed to put the ball in, and it deflects off the feet of Trusty. And out for a corner for Bayern Munich on the far side. It's still 0-0 despite a goal in 30 seconds for Celtic. And there is the Bayern Munich head coach, Vincent Kompany. He took charge of 96 Burnley games, included a promotion to the Premier League and then a relegation from it in those 2 years. Well, he won 2 of his last 21 in all competitions in charge of Burnley. The former Manchester City centre-back, as it looks like it's going to be a left-footed in-swinging delivery from Michael Elise. And he'll put it into the 6-yard box towards the far post. It's a header away by Johnston and another header away by Hetate. Well, as far as Kimmich, who heads it back out wide to the right-hand side to Elise, who on his left foot look to try and deliver it. He will do so. It's headed on to the far post there and then headed away by Johnston. Only as far as Upamecano goes for the shot. It loops in the air and over the bar, and a goal kick for Celtic. As the first minute was the Celtic attack which led to the goal, but since then it's been Bayern Munich who have looked more lively and more dangerous in terms of going at goal. Nicholas Kuhn with the shot. It went beyond Upamecano and Ida, who was able to get himself out of the way. But even though he got himself out of the way, he was still stood in an offside position, and it did go into the eye line of Manuel Neuer in his dive. So it's a rightly given offside for me, as Bayern Munich attack again, this time on the left wing with Leroy Sané in the final third. Slows it down, but plays it into the path for Kimmich, who's got time to deliver a ball to the far post towards Elise, header won by Taylor. And Lima will chase it down, but Maeda will get there first and slice it into the air and out of play. For a Bayern Munich throw-in in the final third on the far side, 8.5 minutes in. We're still goalless at the moment. Lima throws it backwards to the number 6, Joshua Kimmich, who turned 30 on the 8th of February, last Saturday. Been at the club now since 2015, joined for €7 million from Stuttgart, Joshua Kimmich, but his contract does expire in the summer. I'm sure there'll be many teams wanting his signature as Elise loses out on the halfway line on the far side for Bayern Munich. Celtic slow it down and start again with their right centre-back at the moment, Carter Vickers, who missed Celtic's last game in the Champions League against Villa as he plays it into the striker Ida, lays it off for McGregor, over the top ball now for Maeda on the left-hand side, heads it across into the box, looking for Ida, but Dyer gets there first and directs a header back to his goalkeeper of Manuel Neuer, who returns it to Eric Dyer, rolling it into the Englishman's feet. Didn't quite get to half a century of appearances for England, Eric Dyer. 49 he's on at the moment for England, and his last appearance for his country was back in December 2022. Thank you to everyone who is here. If you could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic. As it is 0-0 at the moment here in Glasgow. But it's been a lively start from both. Celtic have actually had the ball in the back of the net. 30 seconds in, Nicholas Kuhn with the goal, the former Bayern man. But it was disallowed for Adam Eder being offside. But Bayern have also been pretty positive themselves since conceding the early goal, despite it not standing. And it's with their right back 10 yards inside the Celtic half here with Lima. Only got Elise really in supporting in an advanced position, so he goes back to Kimmich on that far side, looking to play a diagonal ball in towards the 18-yard box, towards Sane, headed away by Johnston, only as far as Guerrero, who then links up with Sane, who then tries to play ball through to Guerrero, who takes it in his path, but can't quite keep it away from Schmeichel, who quickly comes out of his goal and swallows the ball up just outside of his 6-yard box, and he rolls it out to the left there to trust it. And Celtic will look to try and attack if they can. Slowed down again by Hetate, who will play the ball backwards here to Cameron Carter-Vickers, who spent a lot of his career coming through at Tottenham. He had 7 loan spells during his time at Tottenham, Cameron Carter-Vickers. But been at Celtic permanently now since the July of 2022. He was on loan the season before that. Represents America, but born in Southend. His father, Howard Carter, was a retired American basketballer. That's where he's got his American nationality from, as he plays it to another American who was born in America, Austin Trusty. Only played 4 times though for his country, the former Arsenal centre-back. As he's still on the ball here, being closed down by Musiala, so sends it back to Schmeichel on the edge of the Celtic 18-yard box. He zips it back out to Trusty at left centre-back, into the midfield to Hetate, then back to Schmeichel, who's played 16 games in this competition before tonight. 8 of them for Celtic in that league phase, and then 8 of them for Leicester in their running the 2016-17 season. He lifts it out to Nicholas Kuhn, touches it into Engels, and up towards the striker Eder, who can't quite return it to Engels. It's picked up by Sane, but then tackled by Engels, who wins it back for Celtic in their own half. Now with Johnston, the right back, curls it down the right-hand side here. It's going to be chased down by Kuhn, who can't quite beat Dyer to it. Brilliant slide and challenge from the Bayern number 15. And it's gone back to Manuel Neuer, who plays it to the right back Lima. Being chased down by Maeda. But Lima can get away from him and get into the Celtic half. He's got Elise to his right, and he'll lay it off to the Frenchman. Here is Elise, going inside to Musiala. And then back to Elise. Bit of time on the ball here, as he drives inside onto that stronger left foot. Plays it across to Kane, who returns it to Elise in the box. He can control it with his thigh. And then cut into his left foot and shoot towards goal. It's saved at the near post by Schmeichel. Remains 0-0, but just a little bit too easy there for Bayern Munich to get into the Celtic 18-yard box. Controlled by the right thigh of Elise, and then he went to shoot with his right foot, but then cut in onto his left, getting away from Trusty. Good skill from the Frenchman. Then the shot towards the near post was well saved, but I think Vincent Kompany will be very happy with his team's response to that pretty slow start they had, where they went 1-0 down, but as I mentioned before, this allowed for offside, that early Celtic goal. It's going to be another Elise in-swinger into the near post this time, headed away by the captain McGregor, back to Elise, who heads it to his left there to Kimmich on the angle, plays it inside to the edge of the area to Sane. Back to Kimmich again, who with his weaker left foot will put it into the 18-yard box here, headed away though by Trusty. It drops to Musiala, 25 yards out on his right foot, plays it to his right to Sane. And once more to Kimmich, another left-footed ball lifted out to the left-hand side to Kane, heads it into the area to Guerrero, lays it back off to Kane in the left-wing position, who will put it in towards the far post. It's punched away by Schmeichel. Well, as far as Kimmich, and there's a lot of pressure here from Bayern Munich on this Celtic defence, as they start again on the halfway line with Austrian Konrad Laimer, who came through at RB Salzburg, the place he was born, Salzburg. It's Guerrero, low ball to the edge of the box to Kane. Can just about backheel it to Musiala to keep Bayern in possession. Musiala, 22 yards out, playing it out to his right side here to Lima. Now Elise to Kimmich on the angle once more, but then back out wide he goes to Elise in this Bayern final third here. He's going to run at Greg Taylor, get onto his left foot and curl the ball into the far post towards Harry Kane, headed behind by Johnston. And it'll be a Bayern corner, this time on the near side. They are really knocking at the door here, the German league leaders. Only lost once so far this season in the league by Munich, and it was away from home. It was a 2-1 shock defeat to Mainz in the middle of December. But in the league, it is where they are being dominant once again. because before Leverkusen won it last season, Bayern Munich had won the Bundesliga since the 2012-2013 season. That's 11 league titles in a row, I believe. It's going to be an in-swinger again, but this time it's Kimmich with the right foot to the near post. It's a header away by Adam Eder. Back towards Kimmich the taker, who can touch it to his right here to Elise. And forward to Sane in a bit of a pocket of space on the edge of the box, but he has to return it back to Elise as Hatate was closing down, but he can get it back forward to Sane, who'll run towards goal, chop onto his weaker right foot, laid off to Goretzka. And then backwards and out wide left to Elise. Being patient here, Bayern Munich. It's Guerrero, the fullback, going back into the number 17 of Elise. The cross towards the right-hand side. It's Goretzka to Lima. He's got Musiala in support and he finds him. He's got everything to his left now. Jamal Musiala. He goes back inside to Lima. Kimmich. Celtic have got all hands on deck at the moment as they can't get out of their own half as it stands. As it's sprayed out here to Guerrero on the left-hand side. Down the line for Sane. Midway inside the Celtic half. He returns it backwards here to Deo Upamecano, who was sent off in the Champions League last season against Lazio in the first leg when they were beaten 1-0, but then they turned it around in the second leg. It's with Kimmich, who is just on the far side at the moment, almost taking up a right-back position. Brings it forward, lays off to Musiala, who's allowed to turn and face forward here, just outside the 18-yard box. Again, just not really putting a foot in at the moment, the Celtic players. Bit too easy for Bayern Munich. 16 minutes in, still 0-0. Despite an early Celtic goal ruled out for offsides. The ball to the right side by Dyer. Can't find Lima as he slips, and Maeda can see it out for a throw for Celtic on the halfway line. On that far side for Greg Taylor to take. He's making his 20th Champions League appearance altogether. His contract also runs out in the summer. For Greg Taylor, who started 6 of the last 8 games in the Scottish Premiership, the 27-year-old. So Schmeichel in the penalty spot, being closed down by Sane. Plays it to his left, though, to Trusty before he can be tackled. Trusty lifts it down the left-hand side. And headed inside by Maeda to Engels, who then sends it over the top down the left-hand side again, this time to Eder, who can keep it away from Lima at the moment. Taking a heavy touch around him towards the byline, gets the cross in. Last touch comes off the Irish striker, and it'll be a goal kick for Bayern Munich. Adam Eder claiming there that it should have been a corner, but the Spanish referee, Jesus Gil Manzano, thought otherwise. As we're 17 minutes in, still 0-0 between these two sides. Bayern Munich's first game against Scottish opposition was a 1-0 defeat to Rangers in the 1967 European Cup Winners' Cup final in Nuremberg. But overall, they do usually have a decent record against Scottish opposition, Bayern Munich, because they're unbeaten in their last 13 against them in major European competition, winning 9, drawing 4, with their last defeat against Scottish opposition coming against Hearts in the UEFA Cup in February 1989. It was a 1-0 defeat that day as well. So they do usually get the better of the teams from Scotland. As in the Premier League, it's Everton 1, Liverpool 1 as they edge towards half-time at Goodison Park. Sane in the centre circle brings it out to the right-hand side and plays it into Lima, and then Sane makes a run off the ball. Lima doesn't go for him, he plays it to his right to Elise instead, who's going to run at Greg Taylor. On his left foot, Kimmich overlaps and he finds him. Kimmich has got time to put a cross in. It deflects through towards Guerrero, hooked away by Kuhn and headed on by Engels, but only as far as Goretzka. And again, same old story at the moment. Celtic can't get out their own half. Even when they clear it, it just goes straight back to a Bayern Munich shirt. And especially when you let it get to plays like Elise, that's when trouble can find itself. But there's an offside flag up there in a left-back position for Celtic. Elise playing the ball to Kimmich, who'd found a position out wide. Kimmich thought he was onside, but the linesman is giving him his offside. So it'll be a free kick for Celtic, but a breathing space for them in this game. Celtic have won 30 of their 39 games this season in all competitions. Already won the League Cup against Rangers in the final in a penalty shootout. Johnston, the right back, goes down the line for Engels. Poor touch tackle by Goretzka. It's now Guerrero. Heads it into Musiala. Then Goretzka can't quite find Guerrero. And cleared for Celtic up towards Eder, who can't quite outmuscle Upamecano, who's playing it inside to Kimmich as the pass to Neuer was cut out by Kuhn. And that was a risky ball. He had to get that right, Upamecano, but he split the Celtic press and Bayern Munich have got the ball again here, as Kimmich will go long and high up towards the edge of the 18-yard box towards Musiala, as it's gone to the gloves of Schmeichel as it was seen through by Carter Vickers. There's McGregor, goes to the right back Johnston just in front of the 18-yard box, getting away from Sane and laying it off to Hatate. It's now Austin Trusty to the left back Taylor, midway side zone half, lifts the ball into the Bayern half, looking for Maeda, but he's just gone out to play the pass through, and it's going to be a throw in a right back position for Bayern Munich with Konrad Laimer, who throws it to his right centre back here of Deo Upamecano, who did play every minute of the Champions League before that game against Slovan Bratislava in the final game of their league phase campaign, where he did not start that one, the Frenchman. As it's with Bayern on the halfway line on this near side with Guerrero. Back it goes into Leon Goretzka. Last season, as we've already mentioned, Bayern Munich got to the semi-final stage of this competition, but the 3 previous years before that, they'd been knocked out in the quarter-final stage pretty frustratingly. In the 22-23 season by Manchester City, who went on to win it. 21-22 was very disappointing. They were knocked out by Villarreal. And then the year before that, PSG got their revenge a season after they were beaten by Bayern Munich in the final. As an over-the-top ball looking for Kuhn will see its way through to Neuer, just overhit there by, I believe that was Arne Engels, the Belgian central midfielder for Celtic, who they brought in the summer. Made his Belgium debut this season in September 2024. And he actually scored on his Champions League debut, Engels, in his only Champions League goal so far in that first game, in that 5-1 home win against Slovan Bratislava. Like I say, thanks to everyone who's here. If you could like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. If you've got any predictions as well, you can put them in the chat. You can put a prediction for this game and also for the tie as well, as the winner of this playoff tie will face either Atletico Madrid or Bayer Leverkusen. So it doesn't get much easier for any of the two sides. There's Elise on the right wing, midway side of the Celtic half. He lifts it into the 18-yard box, walking for the run of Sane. Cut out though by the head of Trusty. It's now McGregor lifting it out to the left wing to Maeda, who can only kick it into the air for Lima, whose poor touch gives it away to McGregor, but then his poor touch gives it to Musiala, who slips it through for Kane. Angles tight, so he'll go for the cut back, cut out by the sliding Trusty. Drops back through for Kane, whose touch is loose, and it'll roll out for a throw-in right next to the corner flag on the far side for Celtic. Unlike Harry Kane there with the loose touch. Set a recent Bundesliga record, Harry Kane, scoring 55 Bundesliga goals in his first 50 appearances. That's a record. No one's ever scored as many as that in the first 50 games in the German First Division. And as well, what's also scary, since the 22-23 season in the leagues, that's his last season in the Premier League, his first Bundesliga season, and the half of the season he's played now, Kane scored 87 league goals in 89 league appearances. It's scary numbers from Harry Kane. That's Erling Haaland numbers, that. And to do it in 2 separate leagues is rather impressive from the all-time Spurs leading goal scorers. He's on the ball at the moment, plays it to the halfway line here to Rafael Guerreiro, the Portuguese fullback, who's only ever played his football in France and Germany. Former Dortmund fullback. As Bayern Munich have just settled down the play, just ticking over the 23rd minute. It's still 0-0 here at Celtic Park. It's Leon Goretzka towards this left-hand side for Bayern Munich, looking for a forward pass. Going out wide to Guerreiro, then round the corner for Musiala, who dummies it for Kane, who's onside at the moment. Tries to lay it through for Musiala, deflects through for McGregor though, and Celtic can clean it up here as Engels just kicks the ball out of play. I think he was assuming that the right back Johnston was going to be there, but he wasn't. Kane takes a quick throw into Musiala towards the byline. He's now going to run at Engels. Musiala goes back though to Guerreiro towards the corner flag. Now to Kane on the edge of the 18-yard box. Across to his right here to centre back Upamecano. Furthest wide right is Lima and he finds him. Goes back though to Kimmich. It's now Lima again. Into Upamecano. Everyone behind the ball for Celtic at the moment as he goes forward to Kimmich, lays it off for Elise. It's now with Goretzka, keeping it moving, finding Elise once more. He's found himself in a central area. It's now Musiala out to the left to Sane in the box, surrounded by 2 Celtic shirts. He lays it off to Guerrero, flashes it across, all the way through for Lima. Touch goes behind him, but he can play it forward down the right side to Kane, then back out of the box it goes to Upamecano. Now with Dyer, Celtic just need to stay in the game, stay fully focused. There's a short ball from Upamecano who's been cut out here by Greg Taylor, and maybe a counter-attack for Celtic as they get out of their own half here. And he plays down the left-hand side for Eder, who I believe just stayed on side. Keeps the ball away from Eric Dyer as it stands. Still with Adam Eder. Kicks it off Elise. It'll be a throw in midway inside the Bayern half on that far side for Celtic. Well held up there by Adam Eder, whose birthday was yesterday. Turned 24, the Irishman, who's got 21 goals in his first 54 appearances for Celtic since joining permanently in the summer, but went on a 6-month loan here at the back end of last season. With Carter Vickers towards halfway, goes across the trusty in the centre circle. It's now McGregor, being closed down by Goretzka. Has to go back here to Kasper Schmeichel. Still with Schmeichel on the edge of the 18-yard box. Plays it out to the left side here to Taylor. Touches him great, just flicks up at him, but he can get it on the floor and back to Austin Trusty. We're back in the 18-yard box again here with Schmeichel. 10-yard pass to his right to Cameron Carter-Vickers. It's now the right back Johnston, who can drive into the central area where there's a bit more space. He lays it off for Hetate. So the left centre back of Trusty. We're still in the Celtic half at the moment. Bayern sitting pretty high, but not aggressively pressing at the moment. As again, it's Schmeichel on the ball, who came through at Manchester City for 7 years. And then spent 11 years of his career at Leicester, winning that Premier League and FA Cup and Community Shield as well. Trusty to the left back Taylor. Gets it beyond Elise, but it doesn't touch the Frenchman, and it goes out of play for a Bayern Munich throw-in in the Celtic half. Suffocating them pretty well at the moment, Bayern Munich, who under Vincent Kompany in his first summer at the club, he was able to bring in 7 new players, spending over £125 million. One of them in the starting 11 tonight of Michael Elise, and only 2 of the others on the bench of Hiroki Ito, who returns for the first time on the bench this season after recovering from a broken foot, the Japanese centre-back, and also a third-choice goalkeeper of Jonas Erbig, who was brought in for €10 million from Cologne in the January window. As Elise goes around the outside of Maeda, cuts it back though and goes to the left, goes on his left foot and plays it to Lima. And then back once more to Kimmich, now on the halfway line to Dyer. It's very much attack versus defence at the moment in this game. It was pretty lively opening 5 minutes, but it's kind of become very possession-based for Bayern Munich. For Bayern Munich, they have lost 3 of their 4 away games in the Champions League this season, and should Celtic get a victory tonight, it will be the first time the German side have lost 4 away games in a single campaign in major European competition. So it just shows how this new league format can mean you pick up more defeats than you usually do if you were to play a 6-game group stage like it used to be. Sane on the near side, drifting into a more central area here, keeping it away from Engels. Playing a pass into the centre circle to Eric Dyer. Fizzes it out wide to Lima, then back into Kimmich. Wants to progress forward with his pass. Works it out wide to Elise. He's got the runner Lima off the ball. He tries to play it to him, but it comes off Taylor, who can poke it away for a Bayern Munich throw-in on that far side. And it's already with Eric Dyer, the number 15, who's never scored in a Champions League goal, Eric Dyer, despite making his 38th appearance tonight. 1-1 at half-time in that Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Still on the halfway line for Bayern Munich here with Upamecano. Goretzka in a left-back position towards the halfway line. Back into Upamecano. Dyer. Into Lima. About 10 yards inside the Celtic half. He's dispossessed by a blocking Maeda, who intercepted the pass. So the left back Taylor. Down the line for Hetate, back to Taylor, then down the line for Maeda. Tries to go inside himself to McGregor, and it reaches him, and he can flick it through for Engels, who can't quite get away from Sane on the defensive cover. Brilliant work rate from the Bayern Munich number 10. And a half chance for Celtic to get away. But the sheer pace of Sane got him in front of Engels and took the ball off him. Sane returns the ball back to Neuer after a late challenge there from Engels. The referee will play the advantage. It's with the right centre half at the moment of Eric Dyer. It's now a Lima. Midway inside the Celtic half with Elise. Keeps the ball away from Taylor. Forward to Kane, who lays it off the run of Musiala. It's brilliant and it's fluid football. And Musiala's heavy touch means Schmeichel can come out to smother. Really well worked there through the Celtic defence there by Bayern Munich. But that Musiala touch is just too heavy and it's unlike him. Jamal Musiala. He was born in Germany, born in Stuttgart. Moved to England at the age of 7. Came through mainly at Chelsea, where he left to join Bayern Munich in 2019. Musiala turns 22 in exactly 2 weeks' time. Celtic play down the right side here. It's Nicholas Kuhn. Can't find the fullback of Johnston. Guerrero finds up Meccano. Loose ball, but it does follow its way through to Sane. It's now Kimmich to Elise. 22 yards out, but he's got his back to goal. Pokes it back to Kimmich, who lifts it to the left-hand side to Sane, who controls it. And then just prods it out once more to Musiala. Who goes back to Sane. Plenty of time on the ball here for the former City winger. Kimmich, everyone behind the ball for Celtic. They don't want to go behind in this game if they can help it. Musiala on the left wing running at Kuhn and being tackled by him, but can get the second ball back. And Musiala then tries the 1-2 here with Goretzka, but it's Sane to take over and he can't get contact on the ball. And again, Schmeichel's out to gather. Just feel like sooner rather than later, a big chance is going to come by Munich's way. Bit fortunate for Musiala to keep the ball away from Kuhn. Tried the 1-2 with Goretzka, but the ball instead fell through to Sane, who just couldn't get decent contact. And if he did, that's a worry for Schmeichel as he kicks it long towards the right back of Lima for Bayern Munich, who deals with it. It's now with Kane on halfway. Turned away from McGregor and plays it forward into the space here for Lima. Lays it off here for Elise, who will drive inside. Hatate slides in but can't get there. Elise to his right to Lima in the 18-yard box. Lifts it through for Elise again, who's turning. The clearance is poor. It drops to Kimmich on the edge of the area. Out wide left to Sane. Lifts it into the box for Kane. It's a great save from Schmeichel. Point blank range. Lima on the rebound. First shot doesn't go anywhere. Then he lays it off for Kimmich, whose shot I think is blocked by his own teammate of Musiala. A flag eventually goes up for offside. And that is Bayern Munich's biggest chance of the game so far. Fell to Harry Kane. And Kasper Schmeichel was equal to it. That's a brilliant save. Kimmich worked out to the left to Sane, who found Kane in the box, but he was offside as the ball was delivered in there for Harry Kane. So if it had gone in, it would have been disallowed. But still a good save from Schmeichel. The only thing I'd say is it is straight at his legs, but still to get down and make sure his legs are closed to stop the ball going in means it is a good save. But Harry Kane does love facing Kasper Schmeichel. There's a ridiculous stat that Kane has scored 16 club goals against Schmeichel. He scored 4 against him one day in a game for Tottenham against Leicester in May 2017. He scored a hat-trick against Leicester for Tottenham back in March 2015. He has scored so many club goals against Schmeichel, Harry Kane. It's ridiculous. You might also remember his goal he scored against him in the Euros semi-final, that penalty in extra time, which was originally saved by Schmeichel, but then Kane put in the rebound. So there's definitely history between Schmeichel and Kane as they go face-to-face again tonight. Hatate, poor ball, looking for Engels. Goretzka picks it up but can't fire it forward to Kane in the box. Cut out by Hatate. A big lead off there for Arnie Engels. He just doesn't seem quite on it tonight. I don't know what it is about the 21-year-old. Maybe possibly nerves. I'm not too sure, but just doesn't seem quite with it, the young Belgian. He's got 8 league goals already this season. The man brought in from Augsburg. 33.5 minutes in. It's Celtic 0, Bayern 0. And it's been all Bayern Munich pretty much. We had a goal in the back of the net for Celtic, 30 seconds in, Nicholas Kuhn. But as he had the shot, Adam Ido was in an offside position and also in the eye sight of Manuel Neuer. So it meant the goal was, unfortunately for Celtic, disallowed. Bayern Munich have had half chances of their own, just a lot of passing it around the 18-yard box, not quite finding the best of openings so far to have a clear-cut chance. Did make one there with Harry Kane's header, but he was offside as Sane put the cross in. Still Bayern Munich in their own half at the moment with their left-back Guerrero, the number 22, who started one of the last 3 Champions League games. Guerrero, just the 1 league goal for him against Hoffenheim in a 5-0 home win back in mid-January. Guerrero on the halfway line near side goes back into Musiala, who's dropped pretty deep for the ball there, the number 42, whose last Champions League knockout goal was against Lazio in the last 16 first leg back in February 2021 for Musiala. It was actually his first Champions League goal. So he's scored a few in the Champions League group stage, but none in the knockout stages, as he wins a free kick there on the left-hand side. Musiala fouled by Alistair Johnston, who's coming up towards a century of appearances for Celtic. This is number 97 tonight. For the Canadian, Vancouver-born fullback, had two nibbles there at Musiala. It's right towards this near side in the final third. And Musiala walks away, and it'll be Kimmich in his bright pink boots to put this ball into the 18-yard box. Just a one-man Celtic wall of Nicholas Kuhn. Kimmich delivers in, right-footed towards Harry Kane. It's flicked onto the far post towards Upamecano, who's left it, assuming it'll be a corner. And it won't be. Last touch of a Bayern play. I think it was Kane going for it along with Goretzka. Last touch came off a Bayern player and behind for a goal kick, taken short by Schmeichel to Carter Vickers, who brings it out of the 18-yard box and finds the central midfielder of Arnie Engels. It's now with the left centre-back of Trusty. Taylor to Engels in central midfield. Out wide left to Hatate. Poked away from him by Goretzka. Thrown for Celtic. Still in just inside their own half at the moment. Throws it into McGregor and returns it to Taylor. Tries to go down the line to Hatate. Cut out by Elise this time. Another throw-in for the home side, who've won 8 of the last 10 in all competitions. Scoring 17 goals in their last 5, Celtic, as they've given away the ball from the throw-in. And it's now back with Neuer on the edge of the 18-yard box for Bayern Munich. It's still goalless here at Celtic Park. Neuer has it, lifting it out to Dyer, away from the press of Eder. Dyer touches it down and then plays it down the left-hand side here. Will it reach Sane? It will, but he can't quite work himself around Johnston. And Celtic have it back on the halfway line with McGregor. And then back from Taylor to Trusty. Across to the right centre-back here of Carter Vickers, who signed a new contract this time last year until 2029. McGregor back to Trusty. And then back once more to Schmeichel on the edge of the 18-yard box here. 37 minutes in, still 0-0 at Celtic Park. Johnson at right back, kicking it off Sane. Throw-in taken. And he throws it to Engels, who then goes to McGregor, the captain. Time on the ball here for number 42. Spreads it to the left side here to Taylor. Forward to Maeda, who can run at Lima here. Into the final third. There's only Eder in the box to aim at. He'll go for it, and it's cleared away by Upamecano at the near post, only as far as McGregor. Back out wide this time to Taylor, then into McGregor again. About 30 yards from goal here, the captain. Goes to Hatate, but it's cut out by Kimmich, who was on his toes quickly. It's now Musiala as Bayern look to try and break. It's Goretzka in the centre circle, keeping it away from McGregor. Then Kane can't slip a ball through for Sane. That one was intercepted by Carter Vickers. And it's now with McGregor. Gets the touch there from Engels. Hatate gets around Lima and into the path of Maeda, who's got options to his right. Tries to chop onto his right foot himself, but Upamecano stops him. Then a sliding tackle from Elise keeps it away from Hatate. But Maeda gets a tackle on Upamecano. But the loose ball falls back to the French centre-back. And it's now with Elise on the far side. And it's Bayern Munich on the ball in their 18-yard box here with Manuel Neuer. Keeps it moving to the left centre-back here of Eric Dyer. Guerrero at left-back on the ball. Back into Dyer. Then down the line once more to Sane, who's met by the tackle of Johnston. It's a fair one. And Celtic can try and attack as they win it in the Bayern Munich half. But they've already gone all the way backwards to the centre circle here to Trusty. Goes 10 yards to his right to Carter Vickers. A slow press from Kane means he can play it back across to Trusty. Hatate. Into McGregor, out wide left now to Taylor. Midway side the Bayern half with Maeda. Can he try and maybe run at Elise? Goes back into Taylor, the fullback. Into Trusty's 10 yards inside the Bayern half. Carter Vickers to Johnston, the right back. Plays the ball to his right to Kuhn. The first time ball looking over the top for Engels. Header cut out there by Goretzka. Poorly dealt with though by Guerrero. Then kicked out of play there by Kuhn as he looked out wide for his full back of Johnston. It's now with Dyer on the ball with his feet to Guerrero. Tackled by Kuhn very fairly. It's now Eder in the right wing position. Gets away from Guerrero. And the last touch comes off the striker. It's another goal kick. Eder thought that Guerrero got the last touch to send it for a corner, but the linesman on this near side disagreed. That does look like a corner to me. Looks like Rafael Guerrero got that last final touch. Neuer kicks it long down the Bayern left, and it's headed away on halfway by Carter Vickers. Then flicked on by Engels towards Eder, headed away by Dyer. Tackled there, McGregor on Musiala, but the loose ball drops to Guerrero. And Bayern start again at the back with Dyer lifting out to the right back position to Lima, who can control it. He go backwards himself here to Upamecano. 4.5 minutes of the first 45 left. It's still 0-0 here at Celtic Park. As of course last season, Bayern Munich had a shocking season, finishing third in the league, 1 point off second place Stuttgart, but they were 18 points off Leverkusen, who won the Bundesliga title. Lost 6 away games last season in the league. Bayern Munich to the likes of Frankfurt, Leverkusen, Bochum as well. Stuttgart, Hoffenheim. Plenty of poor results in there last season as they were managed by now England manager Thomas Tuchel. It's Lima on halfway, entering the Celtic half and playing it into Elise. He's going to go for a diagonal switch to the left-hand side to Sane, who jumps and controls it and runs into the box on the left-hand side. Goes on the outside of Johnston, guts the ball across, but it comes off the Canadian. And it'll be a corner kick for Bayern on the near side. Celtic asking the question if the ball had already gone out of play. But the referee said no and gives a corner. It looks like it will be that in-swinging Kimmich delivery in once again. Bit of movement from the far post for Bayern Munich as Kimmich raises his right arm into the air and he puts it to the far post towards Kane. Had to be headed behind by Johnston. And it's going to be a corner on the opposite side this time for the travelling German side. Celtic having to show another side to their game at the moment. They've scored 115 goals already this season in all competitions, Celtic, but they're having to defend their release. A far post, Kane with the header, hits the side netting. The only argument for Kane of why he didn't score was the fact the angle was a little bit too tight, but he'd got himself away from Alistair Johnston and he should have just headed it across goal, but he tried to just flick it to that near post and he's hit the side netting. In the 6-yard box as well there, Harry Kane. He'll be very frustrated with himself, for sure. The man who averages nearly a goal a game in a Bayern Munich shirt, 72 goals in 73 of his previous appearances, as we're back with the action. And Kane turns on the edge of the area. Can he slip it through from Musiala? No, he can't. Stopped by Hatate. Played forward to Engels, who wants to try and keep it and gets away from the challenger, Sane. And Engels goes back to McGregor. And then to Trusty at left centre-back, midway side the Celtic half, and it's the home side on the ball. And it's not something they've had for a lot of this second half. The ball and the possession, Celtic. Carter Vickers into the middle here for McGregor. Staying away from Musiala at the moment. Trusty. To Carter Vickers again as we're edging towards half-time here. And Celtic's only real big chance was that goal that was scored in 30 seconds but was disallowed for Eder standing in an offside position and in the way of Neuer as Kuhn put one into the back of the net. Taylor the left back to Maeda. Can't quite keep it in and it's a throw for Bayern. Midway inside the Celtic half. So it's not allowing Celtic to play at the moment. Bayern Munich, who have won 9 of their last 10 in all competitions. And the one game they didn't win was the Champions League defeat in Game 7 to Feyenoord on the 22nd of January. Still 1-1 in that Merseyside derby between Everton and Liverpool. Musiala around the corner to Goretzka. Keeps it away at the moment from Hatate. Guerrero back into his own half here to find Eric Dyer. Then across to Upamecano in the centre circle. Going to go for a ball over the top to Elise on the right-hand side. And he'll find him. And he gets it down. He has a chance to shoot. Michael Elise thumps it into the top right corner. And that is magical from Michael Elise. Right on the stroke of half-time. It's probably what Bayern Munich deserve. They've been very dominant in the opening 45 minutes. And a piece of individual brilliance gives them that lead in this playoff first leg against Celtic in their own backyard. Not much of an expression on the face of Brendan Rodgers as it started with Upamecano on the halfway line, playing that ball in behind, down that right side for Elise, who just found it too easy to get onto his left foot into the 18-yard box. It just wasn't good enough defending at all from Greg Taylor. Bit of fortune about it. Bounced off Elise onto the leg of Taylor, then back off Elise, which kind of put it into his path. And then on that left foot, he does not need an invitation to let fly, because that's what happened. Aimed for that near post, and it was a bullet into that top right corner from Michael Elise, who scores his 5th Champions League goal of the season. And as it was on the stroke of half-time, the referee has blown for half-time here at Celtic Park. It started with the home side scoring early on. They had a disallowed goal. It was Nicholas Kuhn from the right wing position himself, cutting onto his left foot, running across the 18-yard box and shooting towards goal. It went through a sea of bodies, and one of those bodies was Adam Eder, who stood in an offside position and was in the eye line of Manuel Neuer, which means that offside position then becomes active, and the goal was disallowed. And ever since that first minute, it's been all Bayern Munich pretty much dominating a lot of the ball, not getting too many clear-cut chances due to Celtic defending their box pretty well. We had Kane force a brilliant save out of Schmeichel, but Kane would have been offside anyway if the ball had gone in on the 32nd minute mark. But the main piece of just individual class came from Michael Elise on minute 45. That lifted ball out to the right side by Upamecano, found his French compatriot of Michael Elise, who had a bit of fortune. His touch wasn't great. It bounced off Taylor's leg, back off Elise's leg, which then put it into his path onto his left foot. And just inside the 18-yard box with that left foot, he whipped it to the near post, top right corner. Absolutely no chance at all for Kasper Schmeichel to keep that one out. And at half-time here at Celtic Park in the first leg of this playoff game, it's Celtic 0, Bayern Munich 1. Of course, frustrating for Celtic with the fact that they were at 0-0 right until pretty much minute 45. But they can't really have too many complaints. They've had to defend way too much, and they've allowed Bayern Munich to have pretty much all the ball. And when they've got players like Elise, that's what can happen. You know, £50 million he cost Bayern Munich in the summer, but you can see why. It's his 11th goal now of the season in all competitions. One more than he got in the entirety of last season. He got 10 for Palace last season. And they all were in the Premier League, because all of his appearances were in the Premier League for Michael Elise, because he was hit pretty heavy with injury last season, the former Palace winger. He was out between August and November, and then February to April. So like I say, he was only able to conjure up 19 league appearances last season, but was able to score 10 goals, which shows you how good the Frenchman is. Got 2 braces at home last season against Brentford and famously against Manchester United in that 4-0 win. And he started his life at Bayern Munich, Elise, turning up at the club with an Olympic silver medal, which would have boosted his confidence, that campaign he had in the summer with Thierry Henry. But if you are going for half-time, make sure you do come back for the second half if you're looking at the Celtic Bayern Munich game. But if you want to stick around, because I'll give you a bit of live commentary on the Everton-Liverpool game, because I'm good like that, and I'll give you some live commentary now on the last Merseyside derby that we played at Goodison Park. It's 1-1 at the moment. Beto scored, I think, in around the 11th minute, and then McAllister got the equaliser in the 16th minute, but Liverpool are going to make a double change. Two English players coming on, Jones and Alexander-Arnold, who was fit enough for the bench tonight. Not going to make the changes yet. Arne Slot. As a win would put them 9 points clear of Arsenal. Without that game in hand, because of course this is the game in hand. So there'll be 9 points clear, which is a healthy run to have. With about, 3 months of the season to go. Salah on halfway, far side. Plays it back here to Conor Bradley, who's of course took the spot of Alexander-Arnold whilst he's been injured for the last week or so. And Conor Bradley clears it down the Liverpool right. It's been cut out there by Mykolenko, but only as far as Diaz, who takes it in his own half and then drives forward beyond Idrissa Gueye and James Gardner. And then eventually overruns it and ends up tripping over Decore. And that'll be a free kick for Everton in the centre circle. Not happy there with the decision. The Colombian, Luis Diaz, did well to drive away from Harrison and Idrissa Gueye and Gardner. Is it Gardner or Gardner? Why do I not know that? I feel like I should know his last name. Let's have a look. Garner, not Gardner. Garner. So there are the changes. A pretty ever-present in the Liverpool side so far this season. Ryan Gravenberch will be the one to come off here for Liverpool. So Ryan Gravenberch will be replaced by Curtis Jones, and of course a more like-for-like change as it's Alexander-Arnold coming on for Conor Bradley. Thanks to everyone who did tune in and listen to that first half commentary of Celtic Bayern Munich. So 1-0 to the German league leaders and 6-time winners of this competition. But in fairness, Celtic have got one of their own as well. They won it in 1967. 2-1 win against Inter Milan in Lisbon. And if they win the Scottish Premiership as well this year, it will equal Rangers' tally. Rangers have won 55 league titles, and Celtic currently on 54, but it looks like they're probably going to make it 55 as well after the end of this season. Also go through some of the other scores around the grounds. There's quite a few games going on at the moment. Got 7 championship games. Bristol lead 1-0 at home to Stoke. Burnley 2-0 up at home to Hull. Plymouth 2-0 up against Millwall after beating Liverpool in the FA Cup. Sunderland 1-0 up at home to Luton. Swansea and Sheffield Wednesday's 0-0. Sheffield United Middlesbrough's 1-1. And West Brom Blackburn is also a level scoreline at 0-0. As O'Brien sends it in behind for Beto, cut out though by the Rolls Royce of Virgil van Dijk. And then Jones brings it forward away from Lindstrom. Then out to the right side here to Alexander-Arnold. His first touch on the ball and his first touch back from injury. And Salah driving inside. 1-2 with Szoboszlai still with Mohamed Salah in a central area, but he's out-muscled and dispossessed by Decore. Idrissa Gueye overruns it. Well won back there by Curtis Jones, who puts a big tackle there on Lindstrom. And it's gone Everton's way. And it's straight in the book, Curtis Jones. Literally just come off the bench. He just overran the touch there in the tackle. And Lindstrom just got there ahead of him. Let's have a look. Jones sliding in. And yeah, Lindstrom just got there ahead of him. And he was caught by Curtis Jones. Still on the ground here, Lindstrom. He was caught by Jones, but you're just guessing it would be one that he could run off. So from the centre circle, it's going to be lifted in towards the 18-yard box by Garner. Towards O'Brien, who can head it towards Beto, who's battling with Canate, who can just kick it out of play. Throw in for Everton in a left wing position on the far side. How they'd love to regain the lead once again in this Merseyside derby. Jack Harrison battling against Alexander-Arnold and Salah. And he's dispossessed eventually by Alexander-Arnold. And Salah's tidy footwork can keep it away from Gate. But it's pass deflects off Mikalenko to Curtis Jones. And then McAllister takes over and he shifts it to his left to Robertson, just in front of the 18-yard box. It's now Robertson who can bring it further forward here. Into the centre circle for Diaz. Nice pocket of space from the Colombian. Then an outside of the boot ball to Salah on the right wing. One-on-one with Mikalenko. Finds the ball to Szoboszlai. Dummies it for Diaz. Sent away from goal by Tarkowski. Szoboszlai goes down in the box. Nothing given by the referee. And then Idrissa Gueye goes down. And that's the foul that's been given in the end. Szoboszlai asking for the penalty. Not getting it from Michael Oliver. Let's have a look. He was laid off to him by Diaz. Yeah, there's a slight kick on his foot by Mikalenko. But nothing to take him down like that. That's not a penalty for me. All a little bit too soft. Szoboszlai stayed down. Like I say, he was slightly caught on the foot, but it was very minimal contact, if anything. As the second half of Celtic Bayern Munich will be underway shortly, but just as we wait, we will just keep an eye on this Everton-Liverpool game, as they're in the 65th minute, still 1-1. Plymouth also gone 3-0 up in their game against Millwall. Could they do the Great Escape, Plymouth? It's on. It's certainly on for them. Canate heads away and out for an Everton throw-in midway side the Liverpool half. It's probably been an ongoing battle the entire game, hasn't it? Beto against Canate. Mikalenko has it. Wraps a pass into Beto on the edge of the box. Holds it up against Van Dijk this time. Finds Garner. It's now Gate. Out to the left to Harrison. He's got the overlap of Mikalenko. Harrison will deliver it himself into the box. And it's headed away by Van Dijk. Still alive in the 18-yard box. Decore beats Robertson to it. Decore, just outside the 18-yard box, tries to spin and kick it off Robertson. And that's what happens. And it's a corner for Everton. On this near side. Decore celebrating the corner. Almost like a goal. And if they could score from it, it would take the roof off this place. But if you could like and subscribe if you haven't already, that would be a massive help. It's going to be an outswinger from Garner. It's a deeper one to the far post. Headed on by Tarkowski towards O'Brien, who nods it down for Branthwaite, who gets it into the back of the net. And the flag goes up. Looked offside as Tarkowski won that original header, I must admit. Jared Branthwaite wags the finger at the assistant referee on the near side, but unless there's someone lingering back for Liverpool, it will probably be offside. Tarkowski wins the header. Yeah, and O'Brien's well offside. So, rightly given offside. Branthwaite scored in this fixture last season when Everton won 2-0. But yeah, O'Brien well offside as Tarkowski won the first header. So, or whose head does it come off? That's the question. O'Brien's offside, but does Tarkowski win the header, or is it Canate who wins it? That could be interesting. Offside given, so it must have been Tarkowski. Quarter of the game to go, though, and it's still 1-1. David Moyes having the real positive impact since returning to Goodison Park after his sacking at West Ham in the summer. But we are just going to head back to the action at Celtic Park. As pretty much as we hit the minute 45 in this game, the referee blew the whistle, so we should pretty much be good to go around 9 o'clock. See if any changes will be made. I doubt it. The only changes that would be made in this Celtic Bayern Munich game is if it's injury forced. Celtic have just got to try and I'm not even sure because it's hard. It's so easy to say, sitting here and watching, that they've just got to try and push out a bit more and play a little bit higher. But like I say, it's easier said than done, that sort of stuff when you're playing Bayern Munich. But it's more when they've got the ball, they've got to try and, I think, be a bit more direct. When they win it, they're winning it quite deep in their own half because they're sat so deep. And then when they win it, they try to play their way out of trouble. And it's a bit too much work for them to do. And in that same breath, when they're trying to play out from the back near their own goal, you know, if they lose that goal, if they lose the ball, they're losing it right outside their 18-yard box. If they can be a bit more direct, maybe go for a few more longer balls towards Adam Eder, who's 6'3", he can hold it up if they can get it to him. There might be a bit more of a way of Celtic of getting a few more chances in this game, possibly, but we'll just have to wait and see. But we'll keep up to date with that scoreline at Goodison Park. As in the other Champions League games, we've got Feyenoord winning at home to AC Milan. Feyenoord beat Bayern Munich 3-0 in game week 7 of the Champions League, so they've obviously got something about them, Feyenoord, and obviously came back from 3-0 down at the Etihad a few weeks ago. And then Monaco Benfica is 0-0. As in the studio there, it's Petrov, former Celtic midfielder, and Aston Villa, I believe, as well, and then former Bayern Munich midfielder, Owen Hargreaves, as well. As both sets of players now are in the tunnel, waiting to re-emerge for this second half. As for Celtic, they have won just one of their 12 Champions League/European Cup clashes with German opposition, drawn 3 of the others and lost 8 of the others. The only victory came this season when they beat Leipzig at home in that 3-1 win in the Champions League phase. And Celtic have won just one of their last 21 games in European competition against teams who have won the Champions League or the European Cup, with 16 defeats and 4 draws. The last time they beat a Champions League/European Cup winner was back in December 2023 against Feyenoord. It was a 2-1 win in their group stage in that season. Knocked out of the group stage that year, Celtic, when they were put in the same group as Feyenoord, Lazio and Atletico, which is a pretty difficult group in fairness, it must be said, as both teams now back on the pitch. As we're going to get back underway in this second half. Like I say, Celtic did have the ball in the net from Nicholas Kuhn, but given us offside, it was 30 seconds in as well. But they're currently behind due to a Michael Olise goal into the top right corner. It was an absolute beauty from the 23-year-old. It's his first ever taste of Champions League football as well this season for Olise, and he's already got 5 goals in 9 appearances in the competition. Hopefully a few of these do return now for the second half as we're about to get underway at Celtic Park. It'll be Celtic to kick us off, kicking right to left. Bayern Munich left to right. As it is Bayern who have the 1-goal lead at the moment. But things can quickly change in football. We all know that. As it's with Austin Trusty, the left centre-back for Celtic. Finds the left-back Taylor, who was a little bit weak in his defensive work, it must be said, for the goal. A bit too easy it was for Olise to beat Greg Taylor as they go long up towards Eder, being a bit more direct. He can't quite flick it on for Kuhn. And Bayern Munich clean it up here with Eric Dyer on halfway. Musiala to Kane into Olise, who's picked up a central position, then works out wide right to Lima, forward from fullback in the 18-yard box, goes back to the edge of the area to Olise, back heels it into Kimmich, who will let fly with the shot, and it's an easy save in the end for Schmeichel, pretty much straight at him, as it looks like Liverpool might have just took the lead at Goodison Park. Celtic play out from the back. It's a poor touch from McGregor, leaving it through for Musiala in the 18-yard box, and he takes him on. Musiala, can he get it across? No, he can't. Blocked off by Carter Vickers, and it'll be a corner on the far side for Bayern. This is what I mean. They're playing a bit too risky at the moment for me, Celtic. Got to try and be a bit more direct. Just get rid of the ball. Especially when Bayern Munich can press like they do, and they've got such quick players for the press. Like Sane, Musiala and Elise, they're quick footballers. And Salah is the one to score for Liverpool to put them in the lead in that final Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. And for my fantasy Premier League team, that's an absolute delight to see. It's an in-swinger, but the referee has halted the taking of it. It was caught by Schmeichel, but Austin Trusty's ended up on the deck for Celtic. Was at Arsenal for a year and a half. Trusty left in August 2023 for Sheffield United. Never made an appearance for the Gunners. As Trusty just slightly slips and collides there with Eric Dyer. Yeah, it's more the slip. He jars his knee there. As he planted his right foot, he just jars the knee. And there's no real contact from Eric Dyer as well. It's a little bit self-inflicted. It can hurt them once when you jar the knee. Man, he's in a lot of discomfort here. Trust it. Hopefully he can continue. He's being helped back to his feet by the right back, Alistair Johnston. So it looks like he will be able to continue. We're 2.5 minutes in here and it's still Bayern Munich who have a 1-goal lead. It does look like Liam Scales, the other centre-back on the bench for Celtic, is going to warm up just in case. So it's going to be a retaken corner. It'll be Kimmich again. Pace on it. It's a swinger up towards Upamecano. Cleared though in the end for Celtic as Elise can head it back out wide to the left side to Kimmich. Then inside to Sane, all alone here, about 25 yards out. Shifts it onto his right foot and he'll go for his shot, which just goes wide of that left side post. Schmeichel diving across to his right. And it's just had a slight nick on it. And it's gone behind for a corner. Just a yard or so wide. It's not the worst of attempts there by Leroy Sane, who's looking for his second Champions League goal. He's got 8 in all competitions this season. Got 1 off the bench at the weekend against Werder Bremen in their 3-0 win in the Bundesliga. Kimmich again from that far side. In-swinger, right-footed towards the far post. It's Kane who's free! And the left-footed volley goes home into the back of the net. That is disastrous defending from Celtic to leave a man like Harry Kane all alone at the far post. It was a teasing ball from Kimmich. It had curl and it had pace. And it's left foot or right foot. It doesn't really matter for Harry Kane. It's usually the same outcome. The ball hitting the back of the net. And for Harry Kane, it's his 7th goal in the Champions League this season. 29 now in all competitions. Averaging a goal a game this season. And I don't know whose job it is to mark Harry Kane, but at the far post, he's been left all alone. Oh, it is absolutely dreadful. In the 6-yard box at the far post, don't get me wrong, the technique is absolutely unbelievable. Watched the ball all the way, got that left boot, side-footed into the goal. Company's delighted. But that's when zonal marking just goes horribly wrong. Kane was left all alone and, based off the 50 minutes of football we've had here at Celtic Park, it's a deserved scoreline for me. It's Celtic 0, Bayern Munich 2. And it's making this mountain for Celtic a big one to climb as they trail by 2 goals at home to Bayern Munich. And again, Harry Kane scoring past Schmeichel. It's a similar story that we get pretty much every time they face each other, these two. It's Greg Taylor at left back, battling with Elise, and Elise can go back towards the halfway line to Kimmich. He's this maker for that second goal. He tries to switch Kimmich, but he can barely get it off the ground. It's intercepted by Kuhn. He's tackled by Goretzka. Loose ball drops to Johnston, who can play down the line for Kuhn. He's got Engels making a run beyond him, and he'll find him here down the right-hand side. 3 in the box for Celtic. It goes low to Hetate, who will get the shot off, and it's blocked by Kimmich. And it goes behind for a corner. It's probably the best attack Celtic have had since the first minute of the game. Just didn't quite catch it though, unfortunately, there. Rio Hetate on his 30th start of the season. He's featured in all 40 games now in all competitions for Celtic, if that's starting or off the bench. It's going to be Engels with an outswinger. It's a good ball as well. It's a header out of Upamecano in the 6-yard box, and Elise's made it stick to his foot like glue, but he's been tackled by Hatate. It's now out to the Celtic left for Trusty, who's going to have to beat Musiala to it, and he does. And the last touch comes off Elise. Celtic throw-in. You know, if Celtic can get one back and make it 2-1, you just don't know. Momentum could change the game, but they need to put a lot of work in to try and swing this in their favour, the home side. As we are currently 6.5 minutes into the second half, and Bayern have already doubled their lead to make it 2-0. Harry Kane with the goal. He's got 5 in his last 3 in the Bundesliga, Harry Kane, and 7 in his last 6 in the league. Just his 7th Champions League knockout stage goal, though. It's his 36th goal altogether in this competition, his 52nd appearance. Celtic have still got it with their left centre-back Trusty. Out wide it goes towards Maeda, who's been pretty much non-existent in this game. The man back from his red card suspension. Carter Vickers, midway side his own half, goes forward here to Engels, then around the corner through the legs to Goretzka, and he finds Ida, who keeps it away from Upamecano, then down the line for Kuhn, who will drive towards goal in the final third, wants it on that stronger left foot, but runs into Upamecano, who can find the ball away for Bayern Munich, but there's an offside flag up. Engels goes down, holding his right foot, he was the one offside. Like I say, Kuhn tackled Upamecano as he got the ball back for Bayern Munich, and as Kuhn got a slight touch to the ball, Engels then put a foot in of his own, which meant he was offside, because as Kuhn got that touch to the ball, he was in an offside position. But in fairness, as they've both gone for the ball there, Engels and Upamecano, the French centre-back did just stand on his foot. But Kane, it's brilliant technique with the left-footed volley. But the fact that he's all alone at the far post from the corner, it is criminal. There's got to be questions asked of how on earth that's happened. As Harry Kane was able to celebrate in that corner where the Bayern Munich fans are all congregated. As there's a potential penalty check, but I don't think it'll be given because Engels was offside. Like I say, Kuhn got a touch to the ball. And as he got a touch to the ball, it fell back into the path of Upamecano, but Engels was nearby, so Engels tried to get a sniff at the ball to tackle Upamecano. But Engels was in an offside position as Kuhn got the touch, so as he's gone to play the ball, obviously that brings him into play. That's why the flag went up. Like I say, Upamecano did catch Engels as they both went for the ball, but I can't see this not being offside, to be honest. Like I said, I think there's definitely a question for a penalty, because he did stand right on his foot, Upamecano, as he was battling with that ball. But for me, I thought, from first look, it did look like Engels was coming back from an offside position to tackle Upamecano, personally. Well, VAR tonight is Carlos Del Cielo Grande, Spanish official, and his assistant in the VAR is a Portuguese man, and it's Tiago Martins. So they'll be having a good look at this, because we're talking about momentum and how this game could change. This could be a right momentum swinger, this, if Celtic can get themselves a penalty. I just think that Engels is offside. And if he isn't offside, then they've got to shout for a penalty, because Upamecano does stand on the foot of the Belgian, and the referee has been told to go and have a look at the monitor. So I'm guessing from that, Arnie Engels was actually onside, as Kuhn got a touch to the ball to try and take it away from Upamecano. So this could be a penalty for Celtic. Let's have a look. So as Engels tries to nip in there and get it away from Upamecano, he was trodden on quite clearly. Upamecano's left foot standing right on top of Engels' right foot. But who gets that touch of the ball first? I think Upamecano gets that first touch, but the follow-through landing right on Engels' foot just doesn't give a great look for Upamecano. It's a tough one. I don't know personally. Upamecano does get that touch to the ball first, does it? Or is it Engels who gets it? Here we go. So it's Upamecano gets the touch to the ball first, but the follow-through means he stamps on the foot of Engels. That's a bit of a nasty one, that, because we know studs these days can be pretty sharp. But Upamecano gets to touch the ball first, there's no doubt about it. The replay shows that, but the follow-through does mean that Engels is trod upon. Because they're slowing it right down, and quite clearly Upamecano touches the ball first. But that follow-through isn't the nicest. It's a tough call for me, this. If you look in black and white, in terms of does Upamecano get the ball first, yes or no, the answer's yes. But the follow-through is a nasty one. And the referee is sticking to his guns, and he's not giving a penalty. You don't see that too often. Usually when a referee gets sent to the monitor, it's pretty much a given that it'll be a penalty. So when Kuhn got that touch of the ball, Engels is actually onside. It's Eric Dyer who just pushes up too late. So Engels was actually never offside. And then Upamecano, I think luckily for him, very luckily for him, he gets the touch to the ball first and then catches Arnie Engels. So I think that is subjective. That is probably one of the most subjective penalty shouts you'll see. I think half of the people will say it's a penalty. Another half will say, well, no, he got the ball first. That's a tough one to call. And the referee, after having a good few looks at it on a replay, has decided that it wasn't a penalty. It remains Celtic 0, Bayern Munich 2 in this playoff first leg at Celtic Park. Elise with a goal in the 45th minute right before half-time. And Harry Kane scoring in the 49th minute right after half-time. It was 58 minutes in. And then it's Celtic on the ball in their own half with Cameron Carter-Vickers, who started 9 games in a row in the league for Celtic. As it's with Trusty, who seems to have shrugged off that little knee injury that he picked up earlier on in the half, just jarring his knee after battling with Eric Dyer. Johnston down the line here for Kuhn. Then back to Johnston in the defensive third for Celtic. Carter-Vickers in the 18-yard box, goes to Schmeichel in the 6-yard area. Time on the ball here for the Dane. Plays a low pass just beyond Musiala. It's laid off by Engels to McGregor, and they can try and bring this forward now, Celtic. Into the path of Johnston on halfway. Kuhn has it. Towards the final third, Johnston will overlap him. Kuhn will play it to him. Johnston, low ball to the near post, cut out by Dyer. Reaches Guerrero, who clears it for Bayern Munich up towards Musiala. Cut out by Carter-Vickers, who's quickly on the scene. Kuhn lifts it into the 18-yard box. Dyer with a header away. And he'll drop to Lima. He'll bring it away. He'll be chased down, though, by Maeda. He has to face his own goal now, Lima, and he works it to Upamecano, who just gets rid for Bayern Munich. Well, as far as Trusty, who heads it away for Celtic, but only as far as Kimmich, who heads it across to Goretzka, who heads it back to Neuer. And Bayern Munich can start again with Neuer, throwing it out to their left-back, Guerrero. Goretzka goes to the right centre-back here for Bayern Munich of Deo Upamecano, who has started every game he's featured in this season, the French centre-back. Here is Manuel Neuer, who came through at Schalke, started in 1991 at Schalke, left in 2011 for €30 million to join Bayern Munich, where he's made 549 appearances now for the German Giants. As Upamecano's ball's risky to Musiala. Kuhn did get there first, but just gets away from the German winger, and it's collected back for Bayern Munich by Eric Dyer, and we've got exactly half an hour left on the clock. And it's still Celtic 0, Bayern Munich 2. It's still Everton 1, Liverpool 2 in the Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. Upamecano into Goretzka, then out wide to Lime. The pass is short and it's collected by McGregor, who has scored in this fixture before at Celtic Park when Bayern Munich won 2-1 here in 2017 it was. And Celtic can start again at the back. Won their game of the weekend, Celtic 5-0. It was a cup game, 5th round against Wraith Rovers. Hat-trick from Maeda, their left winger, who's, like I said, been pretty non-existent tonight, unfortunately, for Celtic. Schmeichel on the penalty spot. Goes to his left to trust it. Bit of time on the ball here, and he clips it down the left-hand side. It's headed on by Maeda, up towards Ida, who beats Upamecano to it. And it's now Maeda on the ball. He's going to knock it around Lima and try and outpace him, which he won't be able to do. And Lima can return it to Neuer, who just gets rid. Blasted away high into the sky. Up towards Kane, who loses out to Trusty. Musiala then brings it down, but only as far as McGregor. But then Musiala wins it back and slips. But the foul goes his way. Referee saying there was a pull. It's a free kick for Bayern Munich. He's difficult to deal with, Jamal Musiala, because he's got quite long legs and long arms. He's quite a dangly person, which means it can be hard to get around him and get a foot in, because it's just so easy for him to shield the ball with the amount of body he's got with the size of his arms and legs. He's quite long armed and legged, Musiala, if that's even a thing. As Neuer pings it out to the left of the halfway line to Guerrero, controls it beautifully, then plays it to Kane, who's drifted out to the left wing, and he gets away from one player, but not a second, and the slide challenge from Johnston deflects back off Kane, and it's a throw-in for Celtic. 28 minutes to go with the 90. It's still Bayern Munich with a 2-goal lead here in the first leg. A lot of work for Celtic to do if they're to proceed to the last 16. Their last 2 seasons in the Champions League, they've been knocked out of the group stage. Not this year, though. There's Taylor, the left back, on halfway. Goes across to his right here to McGregor. Finds Engels. Johnston. Goes out wide to Kuhn. In that final third again, one-on-one with Guerrero. Johnston overlapped him, but Kuhn goes back instead to McGregor. On that left foot. Keeps it moving 5 yards to Carter Vickers. It's now Trusty on the left side of the Celtic pitch. Moves it on to Maeda. And then back it goes into Trusty. Into the captain of McGregor. Hetate into Carter Vickers. Curling out wide to the right-hand side now to Engels. He's got loads of time on the ball and he's going to put a cross in. It's a dangerous one, volleyed away by Upamecano. Corner Celtic on the far side. He really whipped that in then, Arnie Engels. And it had to be dealt with by Upamecano. As at Goodison Park, they are into added on time and it's still Liverpool with the lead. As here at Celtic Park, it's a Celtic corner. It's going to be an outswinger from Engels, who we've just seen put a decent ball in. And he'll put another one into the near post, headed away by Kimmich. Helped on by Elise. Sane battling with McGregor. And the handball goes Celtic's way. Or does it go Celtic's way? It goes Bayern's way. Whose way does it go? The referee looked like he was pointing towards the Bayern Munich goal to indicate a Celtic free kick. Who does it come off? Oh, that comes off McGregor's hand, I think. That should be a Bayern Munich free kick. I'm not sure if it will be. Like I say, it looked like he was pointing for a Celtic free kick. Well, I'm not too sure. Celtic are going to make a change of their own here. So are Bayern Munich. With 26 minutes to go. The goal scorer of the first, Michael Elise, will be one of the players to come off. And so will Leroy Sane. So 2 changes out wide for the German league leaders. One of the players coming on is Serge Gnabry, the number 7, who was ill for their last game against Werder Bremen. And he's not started any of the last 5 Champions League games. And the other substitute will be Kingsley Coman, who has scored here in a 2-1 away win for Bayern Munich against Celtic back in 2017. And he also scored the winning goal in the Champions League final against PSG in 2020. As Celtic are going to make a double change of their own. Greg Taylor, the left-back, is replaced by their loanee signing, Jeffrey Schlupp, brought in from Crystal Palace. And Adam Eder, their striker, whose birthday was yesterday, his 24th birthday. He's replaced by the returning Jota, brought in for £8 million from Stade Rennais after a six-month unsuccessful spell in France. But they only sold him to Saudi in July of 2023. There's a ball in behind here. There's a chance for Celtic, but the ball low by Kuhn is cut out by Dyer, who I think has been really good tonight for Bayern Munich, Eric Dyer, despite not having loads of game time this season. So Jota on, and so is Schlupp. Here's Kuhn on the right wing again. Shifts it onto his left foot away from Coman and lifts it to the far post towards Jota, but it's an easy catch in the end for Manuel Neuer. And with 25 minutes to go, it's still Celtic who trail by 2 goals. As at Goodison Park, there's been 5 minutes added on, and they've already played 3 of the 5. As it's Bayern Munich with Guerrero, the left back, trying to play it into the middle. It's a poor ball. I think he was aiming for Musiala, but it was collected instead by Carter Vickers. So the right back Johnston being closed down by Coleman, the substitute, works to Engels and a lifted ball down the right side. Just runs out of pitch, that ball. And out it goes for a Bayern Munich throw-in. It's now Dyer going across to Upamecano, then back towards Neuer. He's been closed down by Maeda and he can just about get rid of that ball. Poor pass that really from Dyer across goal to Upamecano, who then didn't really help Bayern's cause by trying to play it to Neuer with a bouncing ball. As Gnabry tackled by Schlupp, but no one's there to pick up the second ball for Celtic. And it eventually, slowly makes its way through to Guerreiro on halfway. And again, another player who's not had a lot of game time like Eric Dyer, and that's Leon Goretzka, and he's played a good game today. Coming up towards 250 appearances for Bayern Munich. This is 245 tonight. There's a ball towards Kane on the edge of the box. Is cleared into the air by Trusty. Dealt with by Eric Dyer. Beating Dyson. Maeda to the ball. Lima on halfway in a right back position. Plays it inside to Gnabry. And then back it goes to Deo Upamecano. Some challenging games coming up as well for Bayern Munich. They've got Leverkusen away at the weekend, which is definitely not easy. And of course the return leg next Tuesday. And then they're at home to Frankfurt, which can sometimes be a difficult team to face. As Kane spreads the play out to the right side to Gnabry. First time cross goes in. He's overcooked it out of play. Goal kick for Celtic. He was looking for Musiala. Probably should have took a touch and then delivered it in there, Serge Gnabry, but decided to go first time, but it didn't quite materialise for the former Arsenal man. Spent 5 years in Arsenal, playing 18 times for them, scoring the one goal. Johnston, the right back for Celtic, down the line towards Kuhn, tackled though by Eric Dyer again, with 22 to play. Bayern still have a 2-goal lead. Long ball from Neuer, can't reach anyone in a Bayern shirt. And it'll be calmly dealt with here by the Canadian right back for Celtic, Alistair Johnston, who has a Northern Irish mother, but was born in Canada, Vancouver. And this is his 15th Champions League appearance of his career. It's with the left centre half, a Trusty towards the corner flag here. Kicks it off Kane. Thrown for Celtic, which will be taken by number 15, Jeffrey Schlupp, who kind of fell out of favour at Crystal Palace under Oliver Glasner, and he's given away the ball here to Gnabry, who can play it into the box for Coman, lays it off towards Musiala, back through for Coman, can't shift it on once more. He's surrounded by green and white shirts, but he can somehow kick it out wide to the right. Can't find Gnabry, drops to Jota instead. Finds Maeda, can't turn up on Meccano, kicks it off the Frenchman, headed back out wide by Engels, but only as far as Gnabry. And it is Bayern Munich back on the ball in their own half with Upamecano. Neuer closed down by Maeda, but he can clip it to Lima, who can somehow keep it in on that near side. That's a ridiculous touch from the Austrian, who's actually faced Celtic twice in his career already. Conrad Lima in 2 Europa League group stage games in the 2018-19 season at RB Leipzig. Kane caught by Trusty as he dropped in to get the ball there, the Englishman. He felt that one, holding his left leg there, Harry Kane, with the golden boots on, and he had the golden magic touch for that second goal in the 49th minute. Left all alone from a corner, which again I've mentioned before is absolutely criminal from Celtic defensively. Lima on halfway as Kane's back to his feet and just slowly jogging up towards that striker position. Upamecano going to the edge of the 18-yard box here to Eric Dyer. To the left back, Guerreiro. Into Coman. Back to Guerreiro. Just knocking it about nicely here by Munich within their own half. Like I said, they've only lost 5 times this season in all competitions. Bayern, once at home, once in the league, away to Mainz. And just 1 defeat at home. And that was in the last 16 of the Cup to Leverkusen, which was a big disappointment for Vincent Kompany, who's only won 1 trophy as a manager at the moment. That's the Championship title in 2023 with Burnley. He won 16 at Manchester City, including 4 Premier Leagues. Musiala, 25 yards out, skipping beyond multiple challenges. It's a brilliant run then to the left of the box to Coman, who crosses towards Harry Kane. goes to the back post of Gnabry, who's shot saved with the legs of Schmeichel, and the shot from Kimmich is well blocked by Schlupp. It drops to Gnabry towards the corner flag as Kimmich has stayed down here. After that shot, he just collided with Jeffrey Schlupp. Good save there by the legs of Schmeichel, who keeps Celtic in it for now. If you want to say they're still in the game. They've struggled all night. Got down low quickly there. Kasper Schmeichel. He's playing his 194th game of his career under Brendan Rodgers, of course, played obviously the majority of them during both of their times at Leicester City. So Schlupp's going to throw the ball back here for Bayern Munich. He's going to throw it to Jota, who will then kick it back for Bayern Munich to Upamecano. And then we're back underway. 18 to play. Bayern Munich still lead by 2-0 here at Celtic Park. Or Parkhead, as they also can call it. Lima on halfway gets the ball from Upamecano. Good touch as well there from the full-back. Kane with a good turn as well to keep it away from Engels. And he keeps the ball ticking over to Goretzka. It's been a really good away performance, this, from Bayern Munich. Which is, you know, different to what we usually see with them, because they've lost 3 of their 4 away games in the Champions League this season in that new league phase. Kimmich down the right side to Gnabry, round the corner for Lima, then a touch inside, can't quite keep it away from McGregor, who will drive away with it, and he's pretty isolated. He can go back to the right back of Johnston. It's now Carter Vickers to trust it into Hatate, who's also been slightly quiet so far tonight. He'll drive forward, but Musiala's not letting him go. Pulls him back. Referee will allow play to continue for now. Johnston lifts it down that right-hand side. It'll be given chase to by Engels. Pass back from Guerrero. Will not reach Neuer. Maeda gets there. Engels tight, and the ball goes across goal. And it won't hit the back of the net. Still alive, though, for Jota. A Guerrero back pass mistake. Can't be capitalised on. 1-2 with Schlupp there for Jota. And it's kicked behind by Lima. And it's a corner on the near side for Celtic. He's read it well there, Maeda. And as he takes the touch away from Neuer, the angle is quite tight. And it's just gone right across goal, and no one could force it in for the home side. It's still 2-0 to Bayern Munich. But it could change if Celtic can make the most of this set piece. It'll be the Belgian Arnie Engels to take it. In it goes to the box, and it's headed away by Eric Dyer. Schlupp out to the right-hand side now. To Hatate. Back to Schlupp. Plenty of time on the ball here, as he'll clip it into the 18-yard box, looking for Trusty. Headed into the air and then headed away by Kimmich. Always far. It's Johnston for Celtic. His pass is intercepted though by Musiala, who keeps it in on the near side. Tackled aggressively, but the ball is won by Johnston. It's now with Jota, cutting onto his right foot, playing it across it for Kuhn. Back out wide he tried to go, but Lima was there to intercept. Another short back pass, and Neuer can kick it away from Maeda. And it's on the edge of the area, and Bayern Munich can get away with another sloppy back pass again. Coman now to Kane, who's in the central midfield position in his own half. Works it to his right to Kimmich. That's really calmly done. And Bayern Munich will love a third. That would pretty much almost kill the tie. Because it's not like Celtic exactly did well themselves on their travels in the Europa League this season. Lost away 7-1 to Dortmund, drew 0-0 to Atalanta, drew 0-0 at Dynamo Zagreb, and then lost at Aston Villa. So didn't win away from home in the league phase, Celtic. Upamecano in a right-back position. Celtic pressing slightly higher. Quick 1-2 with Goretzka. 15 to play, still 2-0 by Munich. Upamecano lifts it into that midfield position where Kane's withheld a space, and he plays it to the left to Guerrero, and then out once more to Coman, and this is where Bayern can be dangerous. Running at Johnston, Coman in the corner of the box on that right foot, lays it out wide to Guerrero, who thought about the cross, goes against it, goes to the edge of the area to Musiala, who gets away from Schlupp. Musiala on the edge of the area, thinking about the shot, plays it back out wide instead to Guerrero. It's now on the angle to Goretzka. Dyer in front of this in front of the centre circle, goes to Upamecano, forward to Gnabry, under pressure from Carter Vickers, but can keep it away from the American as Everton equalise in the 98th minute against Liverpool to draw the game 2-2 at Goodison Park. What a finish that is There was 5 minutes added on, and they've ended up playing until 98. So I'm not quite sure what happened there, but the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park has ended 2-2. What a moment that would have been. As we're going to get more Bayern, we're going to get more Celtic changes here as we edge towards the 90th minute. Nicholas Kuhn, who scored in the first minute of the game, but it was offside as Adam Eder was in an offside position and in the eye-line of Neuer. He'll be replaced by Yang Hyun-jun, the South Korean winger. Only 9 starts for him this season. In his 22nd appearance in all competitions, can he try and potentially make a difference in this game? What a moment for Everton. Mikalenko was the one who put it into the box. It bounced around. It came off Irabunum, and then Tarkowski, with a right-footed strike, rifled into the top right corner. That is a beauty from Tarkowski. Fans on the pitch, oh my word, the scenes at Goodison Park for that equaliser is honestly beautiful stuff to watch. And that means Liverpool's lead at the top, without the game in hand now, is 7 points. So all to play for. As we're going to get a Bayern Munich debut, as they're going to make a change here. Rafael Guerreiro, the number 22, will be coming off it, and he'll be replaced by Hiroki Ito, the Japanese defender who they brought for £23.5 million, €23.5 million, from Stuttgart, but he straight away broke his foot, and he is not featured for Bayern Munich until today. This is the first time he's even been on the bench for Bayern Munich, and he's got on the pitch. So Hiroki Ito comes on for his Bayern Munich debut. He was at Stuttgart for 3 years, made 97 appearances for them with 2 goals. He's only 25 years of age, and he's on the pitch to play. I'm assuming he'll play at left back for Bayern Munich to finish this game off. Yang, the South Korean winger, gets away from one Bayern Munich player, but not the second. But the Goretzka slide tackle drops to Maeda, and the cross from Engels, it deflects off Ito, and it will be a Celtic corner on the far side. If they just get one back with 10 to go, who knows how this game might end for Celtic. Could they possibly try and get that equalising goal if they can just get that first one? Cross to the near post, headed into the air, and then headed into the box, and it's into the back of the net! We said one goal could change the complexion of this game, and it has. Daisen Maeda is the one who's able to head it over the line and into the back of the net. He's already scored once against German opposition this season, and that was in Celtic's 7-1 defeat away at Dortmund. It's sloppy defending from Bayern Munich, but with just over 10 minutes to play, it's 2-1. It was headed into the 6-yard box by Trusty, kicked on by Yang, and Maeda is onside, and he gets there in front of Upamecano, and from a couple of yards out, it is a simple header for Maeda to just direct it into the back of the net. Really poor defending from Bayern Munich from the set piece. Trusty won the first header. Yang kicked it across goal, and Maeda's there just to glance it into the back of the net. And VAR will check it for offside, but I don't believe anyone's offside in that passage of play. And despite being quite quiet, the Japanese winger, he has got himself on the score sheet, and he's half the deficit. It's Celtic 1, Bayern Munich 2. And a goal from a set piece, which will massively frustrate Vincent Kompany, because they have been very dominant and very much the better team in this game. Which has been a bit too much for Celtic to handle. But they've got a lifeline in the game, and it's from Maeda, who returns from his suspension. He was sent off in his last Champions League appearance against Young Boys. Served a 1-game suspension. It should have been 2, but they got it served to 1 as a ball across here towards Jota is met by Neuer, and he missed it. But then cleared by Lima. And the Celtic fans are right back up for this game now. I'm sure the volume is loud in that stadium. And it's thrown back to McGregor. Less than 10 to play. It's now Celtic who are in the ascendancy. Cutting in from the right wing, it's Yang, and then back out wide it goes. Then into the space for Johnston in the box. Cuts it back. Yang lays it off. Hitate with the shot. It comes off Goretzka, and out for another corner on that same side they've just scored from. And these Celtic supporters are in full belief they can go on and get an equaliser now, out of nowhere. They've not really looked like an attacking threat all game, to be completely honest. But I said if they could just get that one goal, momentum can change. And it certainly has here at Celtic Park. It's going to be another outswing from Arnie Engels. Near post. Touched on by Carter Vickers and cleared by Lima. To Schlupp in front of the centre circle. Goes out to the right here to McGregor. Back to Engels, the taker. Into the middle for Yang. Back it goes to McGregor. Better angle for Engels, who will play it down the line towards Johnston, cut out by Kane. Last touch comes off the Canadian fullback. Goal kick for Bayern Munich. And they can breathe. But Celtic will continue to put the pressure on. Like I say, Trusty won the header at the near post against Kane. And then Yang was able just to kick it across goal, beating Dyer to it. And then Maeda was literally stood in front of Upamecano so he could just head it into the back of the net. This game well and truly back on. Upamecano plays it down the Bayern right here towards Lima. Kicked out of play by the substitute of Schlupp for Celtic. And it'll be a throw-in on the halfway line. For Bayern Munich on this near side. Manuel Neuer on the edge of the box, lifting it out to the left-hand side. It will reach Ito. It's now Dyer. Not being pressured at the moment, the former Spurs centre-back. He will go long, down the Bayern left, looking for the run of Coman, who can touch it away from Johnston, but the touch is too heavy. And it's collected by Schmeichel, who will roll it to the left centre-back now of Austin Trusty. Signed for £6 million in the summer from relegated Sheffield United. Carter Vickers. Into Hatate. Moves it away from Kimmich. It's now McGregor to Engels. Can move it away from Gnabry. It's now with Schlupp on halfway. Furthest left is Jota. Can he make his magic happen again in a Celtic shirt? Kane's the one tracking back, and he can beat Kane. And Jota crosses into the box. It's headed away by Upamecano. Out to the Celtic right to Johnston. The attack still on. Flicks it through for Hatate. Back into the path of Johnston. Just outside the box. He delivers the ball in. It loops into the sky. Headed away. Oh, as far as Schlupp, whose shot is blocked by Gnabry. Drops to Trustin again. Celtic can still build the pressure. McGregor. Out wide it goes to Schlupp. Delivered into the box. It's a teasing one, and it goes all the way through to Coman on the opposite side of the pitch, who keeps it in and is then fouled by Yang. No, he's not. No contact according to the assistant referee. Throwing instead for Celtic. Taken quickly. Edge of the box. Hatate works it to Jota, and that is well over the crossbar. The attempts applauded by the Celtic faithful, who are trying to urge their team on to try and get this equaliser. Brendan Rodgers taking charge of his 259th Celtic game. Only ever lost 37 times previously, and only losing 8 games at home. That is ridiculous. Only 8 home losses for Brendan Rodgers in the champion. Only 8 losses in his whole Celtic career at home. Celtic have it on the edge of the 18-yard box with their right back Johnston forward. It goes to Engels. Beyond the halfway line, but can't find a ball to an attacker. Dealt with by Dyer. It's now Ito at left back. Into Kane, who again is just finding himself into the midfield more often than not. Dyer forward into Kimmich in the centre circle. Good ball out from Dyer. And out wide it goes to the right to Lima. Now Musiala. Gnabry's making a run ahead of him, but he tries to find Lima again, but it's cut out by Jota. Trusty in the 18-yard box finds Schmeichel, who's been closed down by Gnabry, but can just clip it out to the right-hand side there, where there's no one in a Celtic shirt, so it'll be dealt with on halfway by Dyer. Not greatly dealt with, though, and then Maeda catches. I think that's Musiala on halfway. Free kick for Bayern, just over 4 minutes left of the 90. Yeah, just caught him late there. It's actually Ito who he catches, who's just come back from a broken foot. So Don't think he'll want to suffer one of them again. We're going to get another change, more experience on the pitch for Bayern Munich. For the last 4 minutes or so, Musiala comes off, who again has just been the same usual Musiala, elegant on the ball, and it's more of a hard worker and a grafter now on the pitch. It's Thomas Muller who's come on, looking to score if he can, because he's getting towards 250 goals for the club, Muller. He's on 247 at the moment, but he is Bayern Munich's all-time leading appearance maker now, Thomas Muller. This is his 736th appearance. It was Sepp Maier who was leading that appearance record with 709, but Muller's well and truly beaten that. Legend of the club, legend of the game as well, Thomas Muller, one of my favourite ever players, most underrated for sure for me. As Kimmich wins it here for Bayern Munich, midway inside the Celtic half, goes 5 yards to his right to Gnabry, then back to Kimmich. It's now with Lima as Bayern Munich just need to try and take the sting out of this game if they can. Because Celtic know they need to go to Bayern Munich next week with at least being on level terms, and that still might not be enough for them, but they can't go to Munich trailing, that's for sure. Kimmich to Coman, back into the Bayern half it goes with a pass to Eric Dyer. To his centre-back partner up Meccano. High ball out to the right looking for Gnabry. Finds him as well, but can't quite get it around Schlupp. Headed away and out for a throw-in in the final third for Bayern. On this near side with number 27, Konrad Laimer to take. And he throws it towards the corner flag here to Muller. Returns it to Laimer. Can't quite get the foot in there, Jota. Kimmich. Inside to Goretzka, then back to the halfway line here to Upamecano. Dyer. It's still a decent press from Celtic, despite playing 88 minutes already and probably being quite tired. Short ball from Coman, just about works its way to Ito. Dyer back to Neuer in the corner of the 18-yard box, gets on his left foot and clears it. Up to halfway, flicked on by Kane, who goes down holding his face. Muller still battling with the ball. Don't think there's been a foul given from the referee. I think he's just stopping it because Kane's holding his head. Definitely a pretty hefty collision. He was in a Celtic sandwich. He got a bit of an arm from Johnston and then the head of Carter Vickers. Yeah, that's not a nice one there for Harry Kane, the scorer of the second goal for Bayern Munich. And for Bayern Munich, that's his 73rd goal in his 74th appearance for the club. Pretty much averaging a goal a game. That is balmy stats. That's ridiculous from Harry Kane. And the last time that Bayern Munich took on a Scottish side in a knockout tie, it was against Aberdeen, and they won 7-3 on aggregate in the 07-08 UEFA Cup last 32. Not as many goals so far, but we had 3 already, and we've had a Celtic one disallowed in the first minute, so technically we've had 4 goals tonight. 3 of them have been able to stand. So back underway. It's a drop ball for Celtic, and Kane's already been waved back onto the field of play. Right back Johnston, as we're about to hit the minute 90. See how many he's added on. Last touch there of Ito. It's a throw for Celtic. It's a quick long throw by Johnson. Has to be headed away by Dyer. Hooked away by Ito, but not very convincing. Only as far as the halfway line to McGregor. 7 minutes added on here at Celtic Park. Indicated by the 4th official, Jose Luis Munera. Yang playing it through into the box for Johnson, who's forward from full-back. And there's a great save from Neuer at the near post. Almost scoring his first ever Champions League goal there, Alistair Johnston. But met by the mammoth Manuel Neuer, who can keep it out. Brilliant run as well from the right back. Kimmich couldn't block. Neuer could. Had to get his arms up to save it. They've already scored from one set piece. Can they do it again to get this game all square? Engels with the responsibility to deliver this in near post. It's a Kane header away. Only as far as McGregor. Works it back out wide to Engels. Kimmich is in front of him. He gets it on the angle again to McGregor. Chips it in left-footed. And Upamecano didn't hear the shout. He glances the ball away, and it's another corner on the near side this time for Bayern Munich. Should have been an easy catch for Neuer, but clearly Upamecano didn't hear the shout. We've already played 1 of the 7 minutes added on here at the end of this game. Celtic quite simply need to score if they want to stay alive in this playoff game against Bayern Munich. It's going to be another Engels delivery, but this time he's going to swing it in towards the goal. Near post again, glanced on, it's Havoc, it's bouncing around in the box. Bayern able to clear it with Ito. Almost dropped there for Carter Vickers. It's now Jeffrey Schlupp who has to deal with it in defence for Celtic. Works it back to Schmeichel because Gnabry was chasing him down. It's with Hatate to Carter Vickers again. Working it to the right side now to McGregor. Yang, who's had a decent impact since coming off the bench, the South Korean. But as he plays it back to McGregor, he couldn't keep it on the pitch. And it's a throw-in on the halfway line for Bayern Munich. Unlike him, Callum McGregor, to have a loose touch like that. Played over 500 times now for Celtic, Callum McGregor, and his only ever Champions League goal came against Bayern Munich in that game at Celtic Park back in 2017. Throw in from Ito, dealt with by Johnson, who just hammers it clear. Maeda will chase it, the goal scorer for Celtic, but he won't get there ahead of the Upamecano header, who sends it back to Manuel Neuer, who catches it. 2.5 minutes played of the 7, and it's still Bayern with the lead for now. This will be Bayern Munich's 25th win of the season in all competitions in their 33rd game. Kane heads it on towards Gnabry, head away by Schlupp instead, controlled by Jota towards Maeda, dealt with by Upamecano, Gnabry in halfway, linking up nicely with Kimmich. It's back now with Gnabry. Playing it back inside to Kimmich again with a nice flick. Kimmich back into his own half to Upamecano, being pressed by Hatate, but he can play it down the right side to Lima. It's a good ball, that. And it's now Lima back into the middle to Kimmich. 4 minutes left of the game. Kimmich to the halfway line to Dyer, lifting it out to the left-hand side to Ito, who can keep the ball in, the Japanese international. He's got Coman in front of him. He'll play it to the Frenchman. Coman. Back into Dyer. It's now into the Celtic half again with Upamecano. We've got Maeda chasing it down. But the French centre-half will play it simple. 10 yards to his right to Kimmich. Into Gnabry. Getting away from Jota. Goretzka kicking it off Engels, and thankfully for him, it will roll out for a Bayern Munich throw-in. Could have gone a little bit differently there for Goretzka if that ball had deflected and gone towards his own goal. Muller flicking on towards Kane, but dealt with by Trusty. Chested down by Schlupp and lifted forward by the Palace loanee. Up towards Maeda, who can't quite beat Upamecano to it again. Who can head it to Manuel Neuer. 3 minutes now left of this game. And they're running out of time here, as it's a big kick out of his hands from Manuel Neuer towards Coman, who can head it out to the left towards Harry Kane. He won't beat Johnston to it, who kicks it off Kane. That'll be a throw for Celtic midway inside their own half here. Do they have time for one more opportunity? Thrown back to Carter Vickers, and now with Kasper Schmeichel. Schlupp at left back. There's a high press here from Bayern Munich. Trusty across to Schmeichel, to the edge of the box to Hatate, who lets it run across his body, and he gets it away from Gnabry. Brilliant midfield work from Hatate, and then Schlupp tripped by Goretzka, and that'll be a free kick on the halfway line for the home side. Just got to be careful when they're playing out from the back, Celtic, because they definitely don't want to concede a third goal. That would be disastrous. 2 minutes left to play. They've already got the ball moving. It's in the centre circle with McGregor. Laying it off for Hatate. Just about shifts it on from Thomas Muller. And it's now out to the right-hand side here to Yang. To the centre circle here, where it's with Austin Trusty, who receives the ball from Carter Vickers. Schlupp. When does Celtic decide to just pump this long? 90 seconds they've got left. They've added on time. Schlupp on the left side. Finds Jota, who's going to run at Lima here. Plays it inside and tries the 1-2 with Engels. That's a ambitious flick he was trying, and it's not come off, and it's now with Muller on halfway back to Kimmich. The referee slightly in the way, but Kimmich can keep it moving to Ito at left back. Goes to Coman, just slightly behind him, but he keeps away from Johnston for now. Coman away from him and from Yang. Coman still running forward and into a bit of traffic, and he loses out eventually. It's now with Schlupp at left back. Out wide it goes to Jota. Keeping it away from Lima. Kicking it off Gnabry, and with less than a minute to go, Celtic need to hurry up if they want an equaliser in this game. It's actually a free kick, and Schlupp's decided to kick it backwards to the edge of their own box to Trusty. I know you want to play out from the back, Celtic, but you've got to get it forward. Schlupp, midway inside his own half. That's how far away they are from the Bayern goal at the moment. It's Jota then with a ball around the corner in behind. It's going to be given chase to by Engels. Meccano cleans up at the back and kicks it down the line where Schlupp will deal with it. Keeps it away from Gnabry. Kicks it into the middle of the park where Hatate heads back here to Trusty. 20 seconds to go. And the ball's got to go forward. Carter Vickers to the right back. Johnston. It needs to go forward. Out wide here to Yang, clipped by Ito. And could this be the final chance for Celtic to just get this forward? Johnston does that down the right channel for Maeda. Comes off Dyer. And he's poked away from him. And it goes out for a throw-in. But we've played the 7 minutes of added on time. And Celtic have given all they have got. But it just wasn't quite enough as they fall to a first leg defeat at Celtic Park against Vincent Kompany's Bayern Munich. And there was one goal in the first half, and it was scored by Michael Elise, and it was definitely what Bayern Munich deserved. They dominated the entire first half. After a Celtic disallowed goal, they scored within 30 seconds. Their goal-scoring machine at the moment, former Bayern man Nicholas Kuhn, scored a goal on the edge of the box. He kicked it towards goal, and it went through a sea of bodies, but Adam Eder, who jumped out of the way, was in an offside position and was in the eye line of the goalkeeper, so it meant that the goal had to be disallowed for offside. And then Elise thumped one into the top right corner on the edge of the box with his left foot. A brilliant goal from a brilliant player. And that gave Bayern a lead at half-time, and they doubled it right after the break. Harry Kane, unmarked at the back post from a corner, and with a nice little left-footed volley, gave Bayern Munich a 2-goal lead. And again, with Celtic not doing much going forward, they were able to get a goal to half the deficit and make the game 2-1. 11 minutes to play. Daisen Maeda was the one to head home from a couple of yards out. It was a corner into the box, which went up into the air, and then it was headed on by Trusty, kicked along the box by Yang, and it just had to be directed with the head of Maeda to get Celtic their goal. And then in fairness, they really did push for that equaliser. They gave it a good go, but Bayern Munich were able to stand strong and tall and see the result through. As after the first leg of this game at Celtic Park, it finishes Celtic 1, Bayern Munich 2. So if you did tune in, I hope you did enjoy that live commentary. Make sure you like and subscribe if you have not already. It would be very much appreciated. I really enjoyed that game. Really did. I think Celtic gave themselves a good account. They can really play and they take risks, Celtic, and I think they've got a lot to be proud of. I think the goals they conceded, they can really learn how to avoid next time. You know, the second one was a poor, set piece, leaving Harry Kane unmarked at the far post. How on earth can you leave someone like that unmarked at the far post for a free volley? They know that's not on. And then the first goal as well, Greg Taylor, the left back, just not quite able to deal with Elise. It was a bit too easy for the Frenchman to get onto his stronger left foot, but the finish was unstoppable. I mean, the finish was absolutely incredible. And they were able to get a goal back through a set piece. And it does mean that the deficit is only one goal. It would mean they'd have to do one hell of a performance at the Allianz Stadium in Munich, as the Bayern Munich fans in that corner go and applaud their travelling support, who are going to go home happy, as it's now 2 wins in their last 3 away games in the Champions League for Bayern Munich, as it is their 25th win of the season under Vincent Kompany, and they dominated the game from start to finish, really. Celtic just had little 5-10 minute spells a few times within the game where it just put Bayern Munich under a little bit of pressure, but they've got a seriously talented squad, and like I say, they pretty much played that game perfectly, and they'll be full of confidence to go on and play that second leg in Munich, and we'll be very confident of going through to the last 16 if they can. But that is going to be the end of this live commentary here between Celtic and Bayern Munich. Remember, it is only the first leg of 2, but at half-time in this playoff tie, it is Bayern who have the advantage. It was Elise with the first goal in the first half. It was a thunderbolt into the top right corner. And shortly after, the Start of the second half, Kane doubled their lead to make it 2. Maeda got a consolation. They weren't able to get that equaliser in the end, but it's still all to play for next Tuesday in Munich. But at the moment, in this playoff tie, at half-time, it is Celtic 1, Bayern Munich 2.